What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Full House Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Lauren.
I'm Tori.
And I'm Josh.
All right, this week we got something special. We decided we're going to do a speed draft, a speed mock.
Yeah.
We're going to do 10
stress mock.
Yeah, the stress mock, 10-second picks. And so I don't know how much narration there's going to be during this thing. It's going to go by very quickly. And then ultimately what we're going to find out, I think, is we're going to find out each other's true feelings about players.
Yeah, like we said earlier, it's a stress mock, but it's also a reflex mock.
Yeah.
Like there's no time to analyze or think or overthink it. You have to be quick on your feet.
You're
10
gonna,
seconds.
you're going to ultimately end up picking the guys that you deeply like most and trust the most.
Or that you can find the quickest.
That too.
Like, if you're a little,
I'm looking in the all players section, because I'm not gonna have time to sort through positions and all that shit. I'm gonna probably go off the ADP and kind of scroll through and find that, I guess is
look at the top like five or six guys and pick the guy you like.
We randomized it prior to the draft. I have the third pick. Josh is at 6. Lauren's at 7. It's a 12 team, 2 quarterback league. And then afterwards, we're
going to do our top 15 quarterbacks in redraft, our rankings. And we have a consensus rankings too. So we had the rankings.
Oh, you guys, okay.
Yeah. Tori got that covered. So we'll start out by, going each one by one, given our rankings.
Yeah. We'll start at 15 and we'll go down. We'll end it at 1.
Yep.
So yeah, that'll be fun afterwards. We'll have time to crunch both in one episode. So we're excited. Mock draft and our rankings episode. Rankings are huge.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, let's fucking get it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, this will be fun. All right, guys. So if you guys are ready,
hold on. I'm not.
Go ahead and pull your system up.
The hearts are pounding. Let's go.
Draft room. Wait. Is this it?
Come on, Lauren.
Yeah, you're at 7.
Right? No, I'm at 5 here. What the hell? What did I do?
Oh, you're probably logged into your 4th burner account.
No. Pre-draft. No.
Nope. Damn it. Go to mock drafts.
Is this it? Oh yeah, quick drafts. Here we go. Okay, we're good. I'll cut that and make it pretty.
Who cares?
Let's go.
All right, guys. So
like
3, 2,
seconds.
1, and start.
All right, we got Justin Herbert, Jonathan Taylor, and Corey is on the clock.
Me, I'm going Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Oh yeah, we're doing 2 QBs. Josh is on the clock. After Tori picking Josh Allen, we had Joe Burrow and Pat Mahomes. Josh has to make a quick pick here.
Going Austin Eckler.
Oof.
All right.
Was not expecting that.
2 QB league. I am going to go with Lamar.
Oh, okay.
RE.
All right. So then we had Kyler, Justin Jefferson, Najee Harris, Cooper Kupp, Dak Prescott, Jamar Chase, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Travis Kelce, Dalvin Cook, and I'm back on the clock.
Reach it, Dak.
Oh
Going in the
boy.
first round. Are you kidding me?
All right. So this is the only thing hard here. I'm going to go with Swift.
You're out.
Nope. I got it in. DeAndre
Barely
Swift.
All right. I am going Devontae Adams.
Devontae, Mark Andrews, Joe Mixon. I'm up. I'm going to go ahead and take my boy, Jalen Hurts.
All right. You got your 2 quarterbacks out of the way.
Right off the bat.
Russell Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, Kyle Pitts, Stefan Diggs, Nick Chubb, Matt Stafford, Debo. Lauren's on the clock.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go with Tyreek Hill.
All right. I'm going to go with.
Okay.
Nervous. I'm going to go with Kamara.
Yep. Oh, just in time. All right. You're going to deal with the suspension.
Oh, he missed me, man. I was hoping he would last.
Aaron Jones, AJ Brown.
All right. I'm going to go Javonte Williams.
Oof. Okay. George Kittle, Saquon Barkley, T. Higgins, Mike Evans.
I wanted Higgins.
And all right, give me Breece Hall. I wanted AJ Brown. I wanted to stack that up with Hurts. I've not got any piece of
Lauren's on the clock. Oh, you wanted Hurts Brown stack.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk about this to everyone listening. We'll talk about our picks and who we wanted and stuff after the draft.
I went with Trey Lance.
Of course.
I was about to pick Aaron Rodgers. He went 1 pick before me.
Yeah, that was me.
Lance over Rodgers. Fuck that.
Darren Waller, Ezekiel Elliott, Tom Brady, James Conner, Antonio Gibson, David Montgomery, Derek Carr, DK Metcalf, Travis Etienne.
Back on the clock.
Dude, we're going to go over your rankings. You have Lance above Rodgers. Stop it.
I'm going to go Josh Jacobs here.
Contradicting yourself.
Good value in the 5th round.
Oh, shit.
I now have 2 solid RBs. I got Tyreek Hill and 2 quarterbacks. I'm good. And wide receivers deep, as we know.
I went
Josh goes with Michael Pittman. Good pick. That would have been my second pick behind
pick.
Jacobs.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna go for it. Elijah Mitchell.
Oh,
Oof.
okay. I like it. A
Pulling the trigger.
little risky. A little
Marquise
risky.
Brown, Dalton Schultz, Amari Cooper, Terry McLaurin.
All right, I gotta go wide receiver here, and I'm gonna just go ahead and take a reach at DJ Moore.
Ooh, don't like that one.
I like switching it up a little bit. I've gotten
AJ Dillon.
no part of DJ Moore, and the target volume is crazy.
I'm gonna go Mike Williams. If he stays healthy, he could have a monster year.
As a wide receiver too, I like it.
Yep. And we got another pick coming my
Judy
way.
Sutton. Fuck.
Judy and Sutton went back to back at the end of the 6th. Oh, Miles Sanders went.
I keep getting sniped at receiver, man.
I'm gonna go ahead and get my tight end and Goddard, one of the final guys that's actually worth putting in there every week, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with CDH right here.
God, I keep getting sniped, dude, with the guy I'm going with every
You want
time.
Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, I was gonna go Mooney, but I'll take Bateman. I like Bateman. Okay. All right. I'm gonna take a reach here with my stack. Give me Gabe Davis.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I like
In
it.
the
Josh is
eighth.
back
Well,
on
I
the
guess that's
clock.
not much of a reach, honestly. I like him in the 8th a lot.
I will go with Trevor Lawrence as my QB2.
Kareem Hunt, baby, the only other running back left in here that's worth a shit. It's not a shot in the dark. Oh, please tell me.
If he lasts, I'm taking him.
All right,
I'm ready to take him.
Ayuk, let's go.
Hunter Renfro, let's go.
All
If
right.
he's gonna last,
It's
give me
auto
him.
pick for
Give me him.
Josh.
All right, I'm good. Give me Rashad Penny, baby.
Okay, he's a
Okay.
starter,
All right.
starting
Give me
running back
Rashad.
on the worst offense in the NFL.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm gonna go ahead and take Javante's handcuff here and
Yeah,
go.
Melvin. That's smart since you already have Javante.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Josh,
Christian
take over.
Kirk.
Ooh, I like it. I do like Kirk in the later rounds, man.
Mm.
Assuming he can take a big step forward. Trevor Lawrence, that is.
I come out of every draft with this guy. I have to. Alexander Madison.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep, I'm such a
He's an
fan.
insurance policy.
Yeah, you've had him the last couple of years in our home.
I have
league.
to have him, especially in Dynasty. He will be on my team.
All right, Lauren's back on the clock in the 11th.
All right. This is where it gets tough, dude.
Yeah.
Shit. Just got to do it. Christian Watson.
All right, I'm gonna go
Don't
with
like him
Austin
as much in
Eckler's
redraft,
handcuff.
but
Right here, I'm gonna go Isaiah Spiller.
Fuck my guy.
dude, this is where it gets really
All right,
hard.
give me Irv Smith. Fuck, I don't
Holy
know.
fuck, dude. This
I
is
got Irv
crazy.
Smith, and then fuck. I like it. I'm gonna go Goff.
Jared Goff has an insurance policy. Jesus.
You got to be so quick,
It's
dude.
crazy.
Yeah, at this point, I'm gonna go MBS right here.
All right. I'm gonna go Tim Patrick. There's a shot that he actually ends up
So
being
surprised you didn't
Russell's
pick
favorite
fucking
guy.
Landry right there, bro.
I almost wanted to
I-
just piss Josh off.
I wanted to, but I was hoping he
like
would
him.
fall to me here. But he went like 2 picks later, so I guess that's
I would have
Didn't
gotten him
didn't
just
work.
because to fuck with you. All right. I'm gonna go Gainwell. He still could end up being the guy in Philly.
I'm gonna go David Njoku right here for my tight end.
That's who I was gonna go with. All right. Well, I need somebody. I can't rock with Irv Smith for sure. I'm
I
gonna
got
go
4 more
Tunyon.
rounds.
Tunyon, okay.
Okay.
Give me a little Gus. Reports saying JK might not
Gus?
be ready.
Oh, I was just about to go TDP. He got taken right before me. We are in the 14th round.
We got 3 picks.
Oh no, I don't know who to go with. Oh,
I gotta
time's
get
up.
some insurance at quarterback. Carson Wentz.
Oh Jesus.
Josh went with Kenny Galladay on the auto pick or what?
Yeah, it was the auto pick, dude. It went
Figured.
quick.
Dude,
I didn't even have a
that
chance.
type of talent though in the fucking 14th round, like
I mean, I'll take it, but
it's
it's not who I would have taken.
I do not hate that pick at all.
Oh God. Go John Mechie. Fuck it.
I love this.
Jesus. I'll go with Zamir right here, the backup in Vegas.
All right, cool. I got my guy, Alec Pierce.
There you go.
Finally. If I can't get Pittman, I guess, huh? Okay, and then Jesus, this is horrible. Let me take a little flyer. Oh no. I went on auto pick. Sorry. I
Jamison
couldn't-
Crowder.
Yeah, I don't
I'll go
like-
with Davis Mills here. an insurance policy.
I go with
13
Gronkowski on the off chance he carries me through the playoffs when he comes out of retirement.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're in the last round, and it's going to be all defense by the computers.
Oh yeah, we
I'm
have a
not-
defense here. Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I got to pick a defense, huh?
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Colts defense.
I will go with the Ravens.
Yeah, not the other.
No, not the other Ray.
I think this is going to be one of the best defenses in the NFL. Give me the pack, baby.
Yeah. That was
All
quick.
right, our draft
was-
is complete.
It was
There it
definitely a stress draft.
That
Okay.
was, man. That was nice and quick, man.
All
Holy
right,
cow.
Josh, let's break down Tori's draft real quick since he had the
Yep.
third pick.
So he went to start real quick. He went back-to-back quarterbacks first 2 rounds. It's a 2-quarterback league. It's a smart strategy, and he went with 2 good ones. And Josh Allen won at number 3, and then Jalen Hurts in the second.
Mhm.
He loves Hurts.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
he
then
loves some Hurts. Go ahead,
He
Lauren.
went young talent on running back and got Javonte Williams and Brees Hall. Brees Hall in the 4th is fucking sick.
I love
Yeah,
that.
we were talking him up.
I
Yeah.
didn't know you got him. That's legit.
Yeah.
And then Elijah Mitchell as your RB3. That's where you should be picking him. You know, like if he pops, that's awesome. If he
I-
becomes an
I-
RB1 or an RB2, great.
Yeah, I feel amazing with Elijah as
As
my
your
RB
third?
three.
Fuck
If he
yeah.
was my like, there's some guys that are rocking 0 RB, and they're I don't know if you go 0 RBing at Mitchell, but guys that are getting their studs at other positions, and then they end up with Mitchell as their 1.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
a little
that's
scary.
Risky, but at 3, dude, I fucking love
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
that. He could very well be a top 10 guy.
So then he went 3 receivers in a row: DJ Moore, Rashad Bateman, Gabe Davis. I think they're all
I'll
solid.
admit, real quick.
Solid.
before you
Yeah,
make
go
the
ahead.
pick, I wish I would have taken Sutton or Judy there. I really,
Yeah, but they had gone just
No, they went
before,
after.
correct? 1, 2,
12. I got
3,
DJ Moore at 6.
4, 5,
Yeah,
6.
they
No,
went-
they went just before.
Nope. DJ Moore went at 6'3", and then you have Judy and Sutton at 6'11" and 6'12".
Yeah, but that was the.
Bro,
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay. I see it. Okay. So why was it this? Was it just a snap decision of having to pick quick that you didn't look for those guys?
I've been like going so back and forth on like Baker doesn't help DJ at all, and then like, but what if he does? DJ has gotten 150 targets every year. If the dude
Yeah.
could just score more than 4 fucking touchdowns, he could be crazy good. So I just kind of picked the guy at the top of the ADP list. I really wanted Sutton there, to be honest.
Yeah. So you went DJ Moore, Rashad Bateman, Gabe Davis. I think they're all solid players, okay players. I think Gabe Davis will probably end up being your best receiver out of that list. How do you feel with those 3 receivers?
Low floor, high upside.
Yeah.
If 2 of the 3 hit, I'm gonna fucking crush it.
Yeah.
But I feel the best. I would agree with you. I feel the best about Gabe Davis in the 8th. I love that Josh Allen, Gabe Davis stack. Give me that all day.
I like the Rashad Penny, Melvin Gordon picks at 9 and 10.
The
Because
9th
Rashad-
round, you got a fucking starting running back.
Mm-hmm. And then Melvin Gordon in the 10th round as a solid player and a handcuff to your number 1 running back. You cannot go wrong there.
Yep.
Your tight end's a little iffy. You went Irv Smith, Jared Goff as your 3rd quarterback in the 12th round, and then you went Robert Tunyon in the 13th.
You were
Two
going to go Cole
picks that-
Kmet, I'm guessing,
I was.
on Irv
Yeah.
Smith when
Yeah,
you got
I-
sniped 1 pick before.
Yeah, I love Cole Kmet this
Yeah.
year. And I mean, I actually really do like for a late round tight end flyer, I'm good with Irv Smith. Tunyon's probably not going to be ready for the first couple weeks, but when he comes back, I mean, fuck.
Yeah.
Some vacated targets there. So hopefully he
Yep.
can fill in.
Then you went Gus Edwards, at which he's probably going to start the year. I mean, to get him in the 14th round, tight end 1, at least for a couple weeks. Alex Pierce, Jameson Crowder, Green Bay defense. One thing I did want to say is you went Javonte in the 3rd round. You wanted to stack AJ Brown with Jalen Hurts is what you'd said. And he got picked 1 pick before you picked. So you would have taken AJ Brown there over Javonte Williams in the 3rd round.
No, the speed helped. I would have overthought it and picked Brown just to try to I wanted the double stack. I wanted Hurts, Brown, and I was going for Gabe Davis, Josh Allen all along.
Yeah.
But now that I see it, I'm much happier with Javonte than I am AJ Brown.
Dude, I
Yeah.
love your running backs, dude. Yeah. Javonte Williams, Brees Hall, Elijah Mitchell, Rashad Penny. Like that is solid. High
Yeah, and then, like I
upside,
said, with
also
Gus
high
Gus
floor.
Edwards to start the year as a starter, I mean, you have 4 number 1 running backs on your team.
Yeah. Don't love the receivers, but that you have to be weak somewhere, if you're going to have
Yeah.
so much talent elsewhere.
Crowder, I mean, obviously second to last round. That was an auto pick, but whatever. And then Green
Right.
Bay, to be honest, just so we can touch on it, you were like, what? I legit think Green Bay is going to be the Dallas Cowboys of this year. They're going to have to lean on their
They're
D.
gonna-
They're
yeah,
stacked
shock everyone.
everywhere. If you look at their roster, they're pretty fucking stacked.
Where's the pass rush come from?
Are you kidding me? Preston Smith and you got Gary on the other
Yeah, I
side.
guess.
I don't know, man. I think they're going to be really, really good.
I don't think Preston Smith's all that great. I think they lost the
He's
better
okay.
of the Smith brothers.
Zadarius, yeah.
They did. There's no doubt. All right, cool.
Overall,
So,
for having quick picks, like I think
Not a
your
bad
team
team.
ended up pretty good. Yeah, I like them.
All right.
I like them a
Now,
lot.
Corey, let's break down Josh's team.
on to Josh.
He picked at 6, starting with Austin Eckler, then picking up Devontae Adams in the second round, following it up by Alvin Kamara, Aaron Rodgers in the 4th, Michael Pittman in the 5th, AJ Dillon in the 6th, Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the 7th, Trevor Lawrence, Hunter Renfrow, Christian Kirk, Isaiah Spiller in the 11th, Marquez Valdez-Scantling in the 12th, David Njoku as his tight end, and then the auto pick Kenny Golladay.
Yep. And then I went Zamir White, Davis Mills, Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, so I am a little shocked you took Eckler there, to be honest. I just feel like, I mean, I really like Eckler. I'm just shocked you took him there. I feel like there maybe would have been a few people I would have assumed you would have taken over him, but he's elite.
After
So,
Josh took Eckler, we had Najee go 4 picks later. Then in the second, Christian McCaffrey went.
I was expecting Cooper Kupp, Jefferson,
Who is-
or Chase there.
Yeah, and that's who my gut was telling me to go Cup because I always go receiver, but I just for some reason his name was popping out at me, and I was like,
Yeah.
let me just go Eckler here. I think he
Eckler's-
deserves that spot, and he's a talented running back.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
no
doubt. Devontae, I mean, dude, halfway through the second round, getting Devontae, do I think is, he's going to have a down year considering he's still
Yeah.
top of the
I
list.
think it's about where he belongs.
Yeah. Alvin Kamara, this is a flyer. If he
Yeah.
plays a full year, obviously you robbed him,
Yeah.
but
They're saying it all rides on the video, right? If the video comes out,
well, and the
then
video is pretty horrible.
is
Supposedly.
it okay?
From what I
Oh,
hear,
I
from
didn't see
grapevine,
it,
like,
yeah.
he's like stomping this fucking dude's head
Oh,
in
Jesus.
outside of a nightclub. I
Okay.
wouldn't want to fight Kamara.
No,
No.
nor would I want to fight any NFL fucking athlete.
Yeah, that's true.
So the Aaron Rodgers pick,
Aaron
I was
Rodgers in the 4th.
Yeah, I was going back and forth between him and Tom Brady. And I just went ahead and pulled the trigger on Tom Brady on Aaron Rodgers. Because like we've said, we say it every year with Tom Brady, but I feel like this year it's just
You
not.
sniped
gonna-
me. I was
See,
going
but
to
this
take
is
him
so
with the next
fun.
pick.
This is so fun though, right? Because you guys both say that, yet he's lower in your rankings than guys that were still available.
Who are you talking about? Who is?
Rodgers.
Oh, Rodgers. Yeah.
You picked Rodgers in the 4th, and you said it was between him and Brady, but Brady's ahead of him in your rankings.
Yeah. But because when I think about it, if I had time to think about it,
Yeah,
I'm probably going Brady.
of course
but
you're
in
checking your
snap-
list, right? But
Yeah, but in
Rodgers,
snap
yeah.
judgment, I'm looking at Rodgers and I go, oh, I think he's going to be better than Brady. Boom. So then it makes me go back and go, do I have to change my rankings? Do I have to really look at my rankings and go, do
Yeah.
I really like Brady more than Rodgers? Because if I think about it, yes, I like Brady more than Rodgers. But in a snap judgment, I'm obviously taking Rodgers over Brady, and then you kind of second guess yourself.
Your 5-6 picks, I love Pittman. That's who I was targeting there. AJ Dillon in the 6th, I love. CEH, boomer bust, man. He could see a
Yeah.
lot of vacated targets. He could also
Yep.
be who he has been. So we'll see on
Since he
that.
entered the league, yeah. But
Yeah,
I feel like in the 7th round, you're not really going to be too upset with
Yeah,
him.
exactly. Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I drafted the fucker in the 2nd last year. Trevor Lawrence.
He
in
is
the-
heating up. I've been hearing his name rising up in like fantasy circles. People are starting to realize that, it wasn't really a fair shake in his rookie year. Now he's
We're
got,
talking about Trevor.
yeah, Trevor.
Yeah.
And when you look at the
look
history
at
of all the top,
Urban Meyer was his fucking coach.
yeah, and when you look at the top highly touted quarterbacks history, Peyton Manning, of course,
Yeah.
terrible rookie seasons,
Yeah.
ton of picks, everything's lining up for, he gets Doug Peterson, who I think is, a solid head coach.
He's
And-
better.
Yeah, far. I mean, yeah, when you're comparing him to what he
Yeah.
had,
Yeah.
he could.
And
have
Doug
breakout
Peterson is a
second
quarterback
year.
guy. Like he is a quarterback guy. He makes quarterbacks play at their potential.
He won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles.
He
so.
he was drafted to be a top, prospect of the last 10 years. I think he's
Yeah.
still that guy.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Renfro in the 9th, Steele, Kirk, I really like pairing with Trevor Lawrence in the 10th.
Yeah.
Spiller, you got your handcuff. MVS, again, another boom bust out of KC. You got two pieces of that receipt of that offense.
Offense.
One
Yeah.
of the two probably is bound to
Pop.
hit.
Yeah.
And Njoku, I really do like as a late round
starting tight end. Yep.
Galladay, I mean, I know it was an auto pick, but I mean, dude, the dude's like the 5th highest paid wide receiver. Now, granted, it wasn't a good signing, but he still has the talent. And if he can just stay on the
Stay
field,
healthy.
who knows?
Stay healthy. Yep.
Zamir White.
We're looking at Josh's team now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Zamir White. And then you got Davis Mills, who I
Just
like.
insurance policy.
And then you got the Ravens, dude. The Ravens D is going to be fucking
they're always
ridiculous
solid.
this year.
Always solid.
Yep.
They're solid every year, but they're getting a ton of starters back, and they drafted some studs this year. So
yeah, I like all my picks. I like where I picked them. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of where I like guys. The only thing, like we were talking about though, is the Rodgers Brady pick, where I was kind of torn on him, and I just made that snap judgment to go Rodgers over Brady.
Yeah. Now that you've looked at it though, would you have taken Brady?
Probably because
Or
I
you
now
go-
that I'm
going back
now
to
that
the
I'm
drawing board and switching up your rankings.
no, I think I would take Brady because I'm looking at the talent that Brady has versus the talent that Rodgers is going to have this year. And I think the trend is going downward for Brady. You look at his talent, you go, there's no way he's not going to put up numbers.
Yeah, no doubt.
Which is why I have him higher in my rankings, but I don't know. You look at Rodgers and you go, how can he not be great?
Yeah, no doubt. Cool, man. Yeah, I like your team. I like your squad,
right.
honestly. All right, now on to Lauren's.
Well, we
team.
talked Ravens defense real quick. I just had a thought pop in my head. I think the Ravens might be your best bet as far as like when you consider the odds makers for, like, if I was going to place a bet on team to win a Super Bowl before the season starts, the Ravens might be where I'd put my money, because I think you'd get pretty decent odds. And I feel like they could be a dark horse, like with the defense they got and Lamar starting to figure things out. I feel like this might be the year he gets the monkey off his back in the playoffs. It could be.
The thing is they
really
said
good
that
bet if you threw $1,000 down on them to win the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah, the thing that's scary with
them,
I like them a lot. I think they're a big threat in the AFC. But the thing is they've said this about the Ravens for the last couple years. Last year they said the Ravens are a threat for the Super Bowl, and the year before that they said the Ravens were a threat for the Super Bowl, and they've just never been able to put it together. And while they are a really good team, it's just like, at what point do you stop putting them in Super Bowl contention if they're not really showing it?
I think on paper their team is really good this year. I worry a little bit about getting beat up in that division, which it can go both ways. Like, that can prime you for a deep playoff run, or it can just beat you up.
Depends on how healthy you stay.
Defensively.
If you're losing 3 running backs in preseason, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I agree with you. Honestly, Lamar, I think, is primed for a fucking bounce back. If Bateman, it's hinged on their offense. Their defense is set. If Bateman can take the leap into number 1 status,
if J.K. Dobbins comes back full 100%,
yeah, exactly. Like, dude, they're gonna get back to their ways of running the football. And what's crazy is that I kind of thought, being that these run first teams always kind of slowed down the pace and ran fewer plays, but Baltimore, I think last year, correct? I'm probably wrong on this, but I believe they were top 5 in plays ran last year, and they're going to slow it down a little bit.
It might have been due to all the running back injuries.
For sure. But still, like, it goes to show that they're willing to be flexible, where like you go to a Pete Carroll guy, no matter what their personnel is, they're going to fucking be.
Well, as much as John Harbaugh
pace.
is like got an old school mindset, I think he also is very.
Baltimore
he's willing to adapt. Yeah, he's willing to adapt to the new school way of thinking and consider it.
What are the odds, Josh?
Baltimore was number 1 in plays per game.
So there you go. Yeah. So
at 69.7.
Yeah, wow. Exactly. So they may run a lot, but they're going to they're going to run a lot. Yeah. And their defense is going to shut down the pass, which they literally, in my opinion, designed the roster with their offseason moves to be able to compete with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Which is a smart move, because I think if you don't win that division, it's going to be tough in the AFC to make it out of the wild card.
No doubt.
It's going to be really tough. It's going to be tough to be a wild card team. You got 3 teams in the AFC West and potentially 2 or 3 teams in the AFC North that are going to be competing for those 2 spots, right? Or is it 3? 3 wild cards?
3 wild cards, yep.
Yeah, so 3 spots. I mean, it's a tough competition, but yeah, man.
All right, break down my team, guys.
All right, so on the Lawrence team, we got Lamar in round 1. Obviously, not to overthink it. In a 2 quarterback league, you got your premium guy who's legit. You got another one of my guys in DeAndre Swift in the 2nd.
Yeah.
I said it before. I think he is probably the lone ranger in terms of who I think can replicate, other than CMC, a CMC style year. I really do. Tyreek Hill, dude, in the third. Like, you've had to pay a first round pick for this guy
Yep,
the last
forever.
5 years. It
Yeah.
seems like, and you got him in the third. So while I think he's
The-
going to
the
have
only
He's in
some-
his
question-
prime,
yeah.
too. There's no drop off in talent with him.
No.
It's just obviously the question marks with what is the Miami offense going to be. But I think they're going to design so many ways for him to get the ball because of the talent that he is the reason they brought him in and
paid
traded
him
for him.
$30 million a year.
Yeah, so they're going to use him and give him the ball, and he can make shit happen, as we've seen time and time again. So
Yeah,
he's
I think
not
where you
just
were
a
going to go, Tori, was I think you were going to say that he might have a little bit of a down year this year compared to where he's been, but to get him in the third, he's still going to be
Good
super
value.
relevant. Yeah. To get him in the third, you're still getting a great value.
Trey Lance in the fourth. Absolutely love it. I'm glad Rodgers was picked before you had a chance to. 'cause
I am
it
too.
would
When
have
I looked at
been
my rankings, Lance is like 4 picks or four
I
spots
mean,
higher
Trey
than Rodgers.
Lance, yeah, I like the pick way more. You got Josh Jacobs, dude, who's going to be in an elite, in my opinion, elite offense, and is
Yeah.
the guy. We'll see. I mean, if they lean on him, which Josh McDaniels,
Solid
I mean,
RB2 in the 5th round.
Yeah, I love Josh Jacobs. Mike Williams, stud in the 6th. Love Mike Williams. Goddard, I think, at the very high end of the tier 2 guys.
Mhm.
Kareem Hunt, of course, not only a high-end handcuff, but obviously some standalone value.
Mhm.
And potentially, if they start leaning towards the pass, I think Kareem Hunt could actually be the more valuable of the two.
I just realized I had the stack with Lance and Ayuk too. I didn't even pick him thinking there was
I
a
thought
stack
you
there.
meant to do that.
No, it just happened.
Yeah, so
So now the thing is you're really high on Ayuk right there in the 9th. I mean, I guess that's not really high on him in the 9th round, but you took him over guys like Hunter Renfrow, Chris Olave, Garrett
I love
Wilson. a lot
Renfro,
of
but I just
rookies.
feel like he's just there's too many
Dude,
mouths to feed in that offense now. That's part of the
Renfro
problem.
is going to be who he is supposed to be. Okay, he had an outlier year last year, in my opinion. He's going to be a third down PPR guy who's going to go back to that 3-4 touchdown range. Whereas IU could potentially take the step forward to be who he was drafted to be.
Mhm.
So I like the pick there. Let's see here. Afterwards, you got Madison. I mean,
Maybe a bit of a reach there, but I just
you
feel like I have to
having
have him.
So you got.
I feel like
you
he
got
could
him.
win you a ship if Cook goes down, and Cook always goes
Well,
down.
and if Cook goes down, you're automatically getting massive draft capital to the Cook owner.
Mhm.
Yep.
Or
Oh,
you
yeah.
got a legit RB1 if you want to start him.
You hold
depending
that
on
fucker
how
hostage,
long-
dude.
Even if like Dalvin Cook goes down with like an ankle sprain, he's going to miss 3 weeks. You can get premier talent for the
Mhm.
Cook owner.
Yep. Because
Um,
he's thinking, not only do I need him for this next 3 weeks, but what if Cook gets hurt again? I want to have him.
Mhm.
Exactly. So trade bait for sure. You
Yeah.
got your guy, Christian Watson, in the 11th.
Yeah. Yep.
Tim Patrick, who I love, in the 12th. Dude, and you start getting in these later rounds, man. I like Kenneth Gainwell. He absolutely could be the guy.
Mhm.
Carson Wentz in the 14th. I mean, as much as I can't stand the guy,
This is where he should go.
he's being
Yeah.
drafted probably later than he should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Probably-
And to have him
He's always
as your
been
third
kind of-
option.
He's like one of the most hateable guys in the league. That's why
Yeah.
nobody wants to have him.
No.
But it's like ultimately, like he's gonna help my fantasy team.
He'll
probably,
probably
at some point.
finish like 15th or 16th in
Yeah.
fantasy,
Yep.
and he's going to be drafted in like 25th.
Yeah.
Yep.
John Mechie, man, PPR machine in Houston, going to complement Cooks well. We'll see if he can start the year.
Yep, taking the flyer on Rob
Taking
Gronkowski.
flyer on Gronk. So you're betting on him coming back, and I would agree. I think he comes back. He keeps saying like, I'm done with football, but if Brady calls,
He said,
Right.
but then did
like,
you watch
and
the
then he
full
says,
interview?
"No, but even if he calls, I'm still retired."
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, even if he
But-
calls, I'll answer it, but
yeah. So what do
I'm
you?
not going to come back.
You're leaving the door open, however you want
Yeah.
to slice the cake.
Yeah.
He's gonna analyze how well the Buccaneers are doing when Brady calls.
Correct.
Okay, if they're
Correct,
10-1,
yeah.
he's coming back.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, they're 3-7. He's like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the day club at the win.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the Colts, who's just been a steady, dominant,
Solid
D,
defense.
legit coach there.
Going
So,
back now, looking, and I would have probably,
Yeah,
I
what
should
would
have
you
probably
have
taken,
changed?
probably should have taken the Ravens defense over the Colts defense. I don't know if I saw them there.
If you go back and look at your team real quick and you look at players drafted just before you made your picks, is there anything that you would like that stands out that you would change? Any of you guys?
Well, I told you I would take Cortland Sutton and or Judy
Over DJ Moore.
That's probably the
Yeah.
biggest one for me.
Yeah.
Not that I hate DJ Moore. Like, he's not going to kill my team. He's he has enough volume to be serviceable, but
Yeah. Looking
just
at
because of
my,
why I play
I
fantasy.
think I would probably have taken Lazard, he went 2 picks after me over Watson, just because I think obviously in Dynasty, I would all day love Watson over Lazard, but this year, I just think it's going to take some time for Aaron to warm up to Watson and trust him. And it's going to be, mid-season before he even gets going, probably at best.
Right.
And Lazard's going to be a guy that you could throw in your flex probably right away and get some, rely on 10 to 15 points a week from.
Yeah.
For me, my biggest jump out would probably be, out of all the players, probably Alvin Kamara in the third. While I really like him, the suspension does kind of scare me. So I probably would have, the players that went just after him were Aaron Jones, and then you took Javonte a couple picks later. So I probably would have taken either Aaron Jones or Javonte instead of Alvin Kamara if I had time to think about it, especially because I took AJ
We
Dillon
didn't. We had 10 seconds.
Yeah. Adam, let me ask you this: like, assuming he is fully healthy and plays the full year and doesn't get suspended, do you feel good about the pick?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Yes, absolutely.
Rather Kamara over Jones.
If he plays a full season, yes.
Okay. So would I, for sure.
I love Jones. I love Jones this year.
Kamara
is one of the elite backs in the league, and he's
Yeah.
With the ball in his hands, and also as a receiver, he's one of a kind, really.
I've had pieces of Kamara in fantasy in the past, and I've never been disappointed by him,
right?
ever.
And that's considering they've always put in place like this Achilles heel to him with like Latavius Murray or Ingram. And now he has, I think Ingram's there again, but Ingram's like 33 years old. So I think he has less volume competition than he's ever
has. Yeah.
So,
So I probably would have taken Jones or Williams over Kamara in the third. But that's pretty much it. I thought,
actually, now that I think about it, getting Williams, granted it's a 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
You see Dak going in the first, no matter how much you like Dak, he's so far from the first round in a 1 quarterback league.
Yeah.
So that's why I was going to say Javonte in the third, like what? That'll never happen. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think Javonte in the third, and then I think getting Brees in the fourth. That you got Javonte in the third and Brees in the fourth. I think that's kind of both those players are you drafted later.
Might have been the
than
best pick of the draft, Brees in the fourth.
But I think they both propel a round ahead of where I drafted them in a single quarterback league.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
It sounds a little bit better than it really is.
Of course.
But yeah, right on, man. That was fun.
Yeah.
Mock drafts always
All
are.
right. Let's get into our original topic for this week, our top 15 quarterback rankings for redraft.
Now, let me ask you this. Well, I think I can already answer the question, Lauren, but I don't think we've ever done a ranking video. We started the podcast last year when the season had already started. And granted, we did our weekly rankings, which is great, but we've never. So this is our first official preseason rankings video.
Player
so
rankings.
exciting, man.
And we're going to be going through each position. So this week's going to be quarterback, next week running back, receiver the following week, tight end,
defense. Yeah.
Defense. Yep.
We'll probably maybe group together, maybe tight end.
We'll have to do something else on the
whatever.
defense episode because that's just not going to be.
We'll do tight end and defense together.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll package something together and
Yeah.
we'll have some fun mocks in between and we'll keep it fresh and light and fun. But so what we did was we have everybody's 15 rankings and then we averaged them out with a consensus. We're going to go ahead and start at the 15 number and work our way down. So at number 15 fell Mr. Double Check, discount double check, baby. Aaron Rodgers.
Isn't that
believe it
wild?
or not, at 15.
Isn't
Now,
that wild?
when I was putting him there, let me put it to you that. So I had him at 15, Lauren had him at 11, and Josh had him at 15.
Yeah.
I was the highest on him. I'm glad to say that. 'cause
You were the
15
highest.
just seems too low for Aaron
It
Rodgers.
really does. I'll admit that. When I put him there, I was just like, fuck, man. Like,
The hands down right now, I think it's hard to argue he's not the best quarterback. And then, like from a quarterbacking perspective, like
oh, absolutely.
he is,
Talent wise, you're saying, yeah.
he's the best at the position.
For sure.
Yeah.
Period. Like forget like his young. Like,
If you were to have 1 year to win a Super Bowl, okay, hold on.
yeah, well, he's not clutch. So
Taking the clutch part out, just
Yeah.
skill set wise, there's probably nobody more skilled as a passer, as a quarterback
Yeah.
than Aaron Rodgers
No.
for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what makes fantasy so hard. Is like, really, you got fucking Trey Lance above Rodgers, or you got Hurts all the way. Like
context
but
matters.
it's like of
You
course.
have to look at the whole
And-
thing. And that's why, I mean, Rodgers, it seems like a disgrace at 15, but you have to look at what the Packers have done around him and who they've put in as his weapons. And you just can't feel good about the players that he has
and
to throw the ball to.
minimal rushing upside, which is huge in fantasy, as we
Huge.
know.
It's becoming
Correct.
And you
almost-
get
almost a
very little,
requirement,
and you
right?
get less each year because he's getting older and he's just not. He doesn't move as well, and so
He got paid massively. He lost his top 2 targets last year. he may be without his left tackle again
Bakhtiari.
for
Yeah.
who knows how long. I mean, I thought Bakhtiari was coming back halfway through the season last year, and they're still saying he may not be ready to start the season. It's still Rodgers. He's still going to dominate. But here's my thing is like, he has been ultra efficient and he's been throwing for, I don't know, 43 to 4,500 yards and like 40 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I just think that it's going to drop to like 4,200 yards and like 33 touchdowns. And with no rushing
Without
upside
Devontae
at all,
Adams, they're getting 18 touchdowns.
yeah, with no rushing upside at all. Like, I think the talent's going to be there, but I just think there's going to be, I personally think they've designed this team with the way I look at it to be a very run heavy team.
Yeah.
And to lean on their defense. They have the team to be able to do that and still win games. They really do.
Yeah.
So
AJ
why were you?
Jones,
I
I mean, come on.
It's tough because it's like he finished as QB6 last year.
Totally.
So like to think like, oh, he was QB6 last year, and then to put him at 15, it seems preposterous. But
A
then
lot
at the
has
same
changed.
time, yeah, so much has changed exactly that you know. So why were you a little bit higher on him, Lauren?
Because he's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
so
bet
you were
on
just
it.
going
based
betting
off
on
of
the-
simple.
betting on the talent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Talent,
looking at
okay.
the large sample size. He's probably just talking on my ass, been a top 8 quarterback for the last 15 years in fantasy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to just immediately go to 15 from him being in the top probably 5 or 6 quarterbacks for the
Yeah.
last 15 years.
And we don't want to, I feel like I'm kind of falling in the trap of the Brady trap where like, well, he can't
He's
keep
gonna
doing
fall
it
off at some
forever,
point.
and yet Brady was 3rd
Yeah.
last year. So it's like, I just think it's a volume issue. I don't think it's a talent issue. Of course, I think he's just as good as he was last year. I just think losing Adams, losing MBS, and I think they're going to pass the ball even less because they can and still win a lot of games. He's going to be ultra efficient. He's going to be top 3 in the league in efficiency, passer rating, picks. He's going to throw 3 or 4. Like, he's going to be on the very top end of all of those metrics.
If more people feel the way we did, imagine you could just completely punt on quarterback in a 12-man league,
Yeah.
single quarterback, obviously, and get Aaron Rodgers in whatever fucking round at the end of the draft. And you'd be feeling pretty damn good
Yeah.
about that.
No doubt.
So,
Yeah, so
it's
Aaron Rodgers' last 5 seasons has been 6, 8, 6, 2, 9, 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, he's
go
a top
back
10
even
quarterback
further,
every
and
year.
It was probably even better the years before that. for
Yeah.
the 10 years prior.
But either way, he finished 6th last year and was the MVP.
Yeah.
That tells you something.
Yeah.
He was the
Yeah.
best player in football and finished 6th at his
Fantasy.
position in fantasy. So
Yep.
he's still dominant.
There's just, you know what? It's a
you have
really,
to look
I
at
don't
the
think
talent,
we've
yeah.
talked about it enough. We're in a really good spot for quarterbacks in fantasy right now. We're in a good era. Like there's
It's-
so many.
and it's
For him to be
always-
15, that tells you how deep the position has gotten.
Yeah, it's always deep. It has
Yeah.
been at least for the last 3 or 4 years, but I think it's even
Well, and the rule changes also make a huge push towards that, with a lot more
Yeah, it's-
defensive.
Look at the
Or
guys that
penalties
rolled
and
into
stuff
the
like
league
that.
in the last couple of years. Hurts, Burrow, Herbert, all these guys are, 2 years or less. I mean,
Josh
they're all
Allen,
brand new.
even.
Yeah, they're all brand new.
we got a lot of young studs at the
Yeah.
top of
Yep.
this list. But I will mention, I did forget to at the top of this is, and I can't believe I forgot to, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, and Aaron Rodgers were all tied in our consensus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move right on to another guy who again is tied with Aaron Rodgers, and that's Derek Carr. I have him
Number 14.
I got him 13th. Lauren has him 15th, and we got Joshy all the way up at 12. So we're all pretty close.
All the way up
Here's-
at
here's the
12.
thing, what
Tori
we
had him at
did-
13.
Yeah, but here's the thing. What we didn't do was do tiers. Okay. Like in my
Yeah.
opinion, Brady, Brady, Carr, Cousins, Rodgers, like all those guys are so, maybe Stafford and Brady are a little bit ahead of that bunch, but like any one of those guys are so close. When you
Yeah.
talk tiers, they're relatively interchangeable within that tier.
Correct.
And we didn't necessarily touch on tiers too much, but like, dude, really go with your guy. If
Yeah.
you're a Raider fan,
If
and
you're staring at Derek Carr and Kirk
Derek
Cousins,
Carr and Kirk
I mean-
Cousins, go Carr.
Yeah.
I think it's really minimal.
Yeah.
But what I will say is this year, I'm actually a little higher on Carr than I am Cousins. Barely. Like it's such a coin flip. And it really boils down to, I think they're going to have to score more points than they did last year if they want to compete.
Mhm.
And he has the best weapons he's ever had.
Well, that's the thing
And
is
the
you
best
think you're going to
coach
have to
he's
score
ever
more
had.
points, and I think they have every ability to.
Yeah, they definitely surrounded him with it. So, but what we do forget is that Kirk Cousins, granted, it was a little while ago, but in like 15, 16, 17, he was a mainstay in the top 6 fantasy quarterbacks in Washington.
Yeah.
Every year he was top 6. And kind of an interesting stat when I was looking this up, since 2015, Carr has only outscored Kirk once.
Yeah.
And he played one more game than him, and he only outscored him by 2 points. So really, in theory, he's never outscored Kirk in his entire career, not one time.
But you also have to always look at the weapons that Kirk has had compared to the weapons that Carr has had.
Washington. Like I'm just saying, granted, he had a lot of really good coaching.
He had Pierre Garcon.
I think McVay and Shanahan were both coaching on the
and during that same time, Derek Carr had Amari Cooper. So,
I mean, yeah, Kirk had Jamison Crowder when he was young and relevant. He had Pierre Garcon. He had, he had some talent.
He never had any elite, like true, like where you're like, well, he had fucking Randy.
The talent was comparable,
or like
until he got to Minnesota. I mean, he's been in Minnesota for how many years now?
With Matt Stafford, you'd be like, well, he had Calvin Johnson all those early years,
yeah.
Right? Like that in and of itself is 1,800 yards and fucking 15 touchdowns, right?
And that's why Matt Stafford has always been high up in
1,800 yards and 2
fantasy.
touchdowns. Get it right. He could never get in the end zone. Calvin Johnson is one issue.
Yeah. So I do, though, with all that being said, I think this is the year Carr takes the leap and does outscore Cousins. But dude, I literally don't.
They're all interchangeable.
They're so close. And while we're talking about it, I mean, I think the weapons aren't crazy in Carr's favor. I think Jefferson's the best. I think he's better than Devontae Adams in this stage of his career. I think Thielen is probably equal to Waller, right? So it's like
solid,
now you start talking
great red zone threat,
right? So like I don't know, you are splitting hairs, and any 3 of those guys, if you wait on quarterback, are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I'll probably have a big share of every one of these guys.
Yeah. So real quick, just to ask you, Lauren, so I asked you why you were higher on Rodgers. So why were you the lowest on Carr? Is it just because you haven't seen it before?
Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen it before. And I still think 15 is a good spot for him. I mean, he's a solid
starter. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you once again, if you punt on quarterback and you get him, you're satisfied. I mean, I think he's going to have a really solid year, but you don't get any rushing upside. And he hasn't proven to be an elite fantasy quarterback in the past. So you're just taking a leap of faith a bit that he's going to make this big jump all of a sudden when he's 30, he's 30 years old now or whatever.
Yeah. 30.
Spring chicken. So
it's been finding the end zone, right? Like, the difference between him and Matt Stafford last year was Matt Stafford and him threw the same exact amount of yards, but Stafford found the end zone 15 more times.
Yeah.
It's significant.
Yeah.
And like, granted, he didn't have Waller for most of the year and he didn't have Adams. So that's why
this will be the year that he should get it done.
Yeah. So that kind of covers that. 3-way tie. We have Carr 13, Kirk 14, Rodgers 15, but they're interchangeable. 3-way tie. Now we get on to 12. The consensus ranking is Mr. Thomas Brady.
Yep.
I have him 11th. Lauren has him 12th. And Josh, you got him 13th. So again, pretty dang close. I have him a tier. I will say Brady to me is paired with Stafford and Dak Prescott in that tier. If I just had to spitball it, like they're all interchangeable to me, those 3 guys. I don't really care who I get. I think they're all really dang close. If I do say so myself, I'd rather take Brady and Stafford over Dak, but they're in the same tier. So however it is that you see it, and I know you see it much different, Josh.
I see it so different. Like I got Prescott so much higher, but but I get your point of tiers and breakdowns and this and that, but I just don't know if I would put Prescott in the tier with Brady. I think Prescott deserves to be in that tier 1 with Allen, Herbert, Burrow.
Well, let's not give it away too much.
Yeah.
Let's focus on.
I'm saying the top tier guys, those top, 5-6 guys. I would think
you have them packed. Yeah, for sure.
I have them packed into the bottom half of that top tier.
Yep. So again, I have them 11. Lauren has them 12, and you have them 13. What are your concerns? I mean, seriously, is it the fact that he doesn't have Godwin? Is it Bruce Arians going into the front office and no longer being part of the offense? Is it like what?
All of the above. I think an accumulation of things where his age has got to be a factor at some point once again.
But does it?
Yes.
Like we say we've said it for the last 5 years though. Well, he's 40 now.
So are you saying he's going to play at 80? I mean, there's going to be a year where it happens. So that has to go into consideration.
Do you trust him?
Yes.
Do you think he'll make that decision and not the fantasy community. He'll
Right.
just go, all right,
I think
I can't play well
the
anymore. I'm done."
NFL will make the decision when he just gets beat up and he can't.
Eventually, they're going to not sign him. But then again, what team's not going to sign Tom Brady? But at the same time,
He will be the
I
one
think-
making the decision.
I think the offense is really going to be Tom Brady's offense anyways. I think Bruce
I
Arians
agree.
leaving doesn't really change anything. Tom Brady's going to run the show on offense.
Yeah.
Um,
Once
I
they
think
allowed him
Godwin-
to do so is when he started clicking on all cylinders
Exactly.
as well.
Exactly. I think Godwin being gone hurts a little bit. It's one less weapon for him, and he's so reliant on weapons because he has zero mobility. He needs all the weapons around him that he can get. So I think Godwin being gone hurts a little bit. And like Lauren said, I just think the age, he's just every year he's older. Every year that's a little less zip he can put on a ball, or a little less mobility that he has, a little more fragile. And so I just think that's why I just got him a little bit lower. I think he's still going to be a stud. I think he still has talent and weapons, but just not where he was last year.
He's
Yep.
closer to 50 than he is 40, which is crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he threw for 53.
He's a little older and his weapons are a little less than he had the last 2 years, especially to start the season. He's going to be dealing with Russell Gage as his wide receiver 2, which is okay, but
Yeah.
a far cry from Chris Godwin being your wide receiver 2.
Sure.
So
Sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Fournette coming into camp at 260 pounds is not helping.
He still
things.
has an elite offensive line. He's
Mhm.
still going to throw the ball a ton. And
Yeah.
I mean, he went from basically 5,340 some last year. And I think he's going to throw for 1,000 less yards, which is still
Yeah.
We saw
fucking
the- we
crazy.
saw
That he's
this-
going to throw 4,400 yards, in my opinion, 4,500
Look at what
yards.
Peyton went from doing, where he was destroying the league, and then just the drop off was steep out of nowhere. Bam! Like all of a sudden,
I mean, he did have the neck issue too.
not because of what he could do, but he was dominating the league with.
Yeah, the year he was actually probably put up the best quarterback season in NFL history, we lost in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But let's not forget, he came out of basically a spinal issue in his
Spinal
neck
fusion.
and put up probably the best season ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
50 touchdowns and the whole thing. Yeah.
50 touchdowns and
But then,
5,000.
but then, what was it? A year or two later, when you guys won, Von Miller had to carry
sure.
y'all through
Our
the
defense
fucking
carried us,
because
for
he
sure.
couldn't do anything. He
He
couldn't.
got benched for Osweiler that
Yeah.
year.
He couldn't.
Basically,
do it.
what's going to happen, what we're saying though, is when the drop off does hit, it's going to hit hard for Tom Brady.
It's
There's
like
no
an
way
old
he's-
person where you're like, oh, they're doing really well. They're still like living on their own and driving on their own.
And then 3 weeks later,
3
they
weeks
die.
Later, they're fucking riddled with cancer and dead. Like
Broken
happens.
hip, and then they're just
Fine,
falling
dude.
off a cliff. Yeah, on
It happens
They're
hospice.
fast.
they're like getting their mail and some fucking drunk driver almost hits them and they have to jump out of the way and they
Yeah.
break both their hips.
Yeah, and then
And
it's
then they're
over.
just
and then they're
dead.
done.
That could be Brady this year.
Yeah. I think Brady's right where he needs to be, but I also wouldn't be surprised because last year it was the same exact narrative. He had drafted too high. He's in that 10 to 12 range, and then he dropped. He went finished third.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. On to number 11. We have a consensus of Matty Ice, Matthew Stafford. I have him 10th.
Oh, you were scaring me. I'm like, Matty Ice. Where's Matt? Why is Matt Ryan in here?
I was gonna say I didn't put Matt Ryan on his fucking.
Like, I don't.
list.
Matt Ryan's not on my top 15.
I got the dupe going. All right. So I have him at 10. Lauren has him at 14, and Josh has him at 10. Here's my 2 cents.
Lauren not feeling the Matt Stafford love.
Yeah, I'm a little. I want some explanation
Yeah.
because
I-
here's my 2 cents. He threw for 4,840 in his first season in McVay's offense. His weapons got better, and he's in his second season to marinate.
Yeah.
for this team.
What changed?
I don't. He finished 5th last year. I don't think he's quite going to finish 5th. I think he was the beneficiary of Lamar Jackson, Russell
Mhm.
Wilson, Kyler Murray. A lot of these guys
Getting banged
getting
up.
injured.
Yeah.
But 4,841 in his first year with McVay, man. What I just
With
I don't
nothing
explain.
really changing.
I can't
Nothing really
explain
changed.
to you, or maybe it's just divisional
that's
rival.
what I didn't even think about it. He's
Yeah,
in your division,
just
that's what it is.
I'm just a hater, I guess. It's not, and it's not even that I don't like Stafford. He seems like he's a cool guy or whatever. He's likable, way more likable than Russell Wilson, who I can't fucking stand with his stupid, corny Twitter jokes and all that shit. I don't know. I don't
Just know I'm dialed.
I just
in.
can't warm up to him as a fantasy quarterback for whatever reason.
Yeah.
He's a technician. He's, talent and skill wise, he's up there with Aaron Rodgers as far as his ability to fit a ball into a tight window and make reads and read the field. He's, excellent in all of those things. And he's got great weapons. And I don't know why. I just can't have him any higher. Yeah.
No, I feel you on all that, man.
Yeah,
Here's my thing. I think you're a lot like me and a lot of Josh is like this in a way as well. You go a bit more safe. But
I do.
in terms of going for the sexy players, I think that's where you lean.
Yeah.
And Matt Stafford finished 5th last year in fantasy points, but he finished 11th in points per game.
Yeah.
He had very few top 5 finishes. Like he never won you a week. He
was
was
consistent
good for
though.
20 points, and he had
He was
like,
consistent.
if he had a good week, it was 25. If he had a down week, it was 15, and it never was out of that range. He never dropped 38. He never dropped 480 yards and 5 touchdowns and won you a week. He's just not, and he's not going to do it this year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's probably, I mean, I think that probably plays into it as.
But with that being said,
those sexy.
Yeah. But with that being said, he's still a top 10 quarterback, in my opinion. Like same with you, Tori. You have him at 10. He's a top 10 quarterback. I think that's his floor. Because with nothing changing this year compared to where he was last year, I just don't see how he's any worse. He can only be better.
I see an instant replay. I really do.
Exactly.
I can't see
I
less
do too.
than 4,840, but I really can't see more.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, 4,840.
Yeah.
Man.
So yeah, he's a top 10 quarterback. I'm glad that's where the pretty much where the consensus.
One of the
lies
least
as
sexy
well.
options, though.
For sure.
Maybe that's why I had him so low. It's just not a guy that I'm excited to draft.
Yeah.
Unless I've got such a stacked team and I didn't pick a quarterback and then he's there and I'm like, oh, I'm excited now because I'm getting him in whatever
Value.
late round.
Yeah, no doubt. So right above him, we have a consensus.
What number are we on now? We're on
number 10. So we are just getting wrapped up with our top 5. So our
Bottom 5.
15 through 11, we had Rodgers, Kirk, Cousins, and Derek Carr in a 3-way tie. And then we had Brady at 12, Stafford at 11. To kick off the top 10, we have Dak at a consensus 10. Now, this is where I think we have the most discrepancy. Interestingly enough, in the top 15, we all had the same 15 players in just different orders. Nobody had a player that the other didn't have.
Correct.
But with Dak was the biggest discrepancy. I had him at 12. Lauren has him at 9, and Josh has him all the way up at 5. So this is your time to shine, Josh.
Yeah, it's just something that I think we've talked about.
Let you rip it.
Yeah, I think we've talked about Dak ad nauseum as far as how high I am on him and how kind of.
We didn't talk about it at all last week.
Oh yeah, not at all, right? Yeah, I think we've talked about. I mean, I don't know how in depth we want to go about because we have talked about him a lot. I just think that there's no reason he is not. I think top 5 is where he's going to be. I think. I am ranking him at his ceiling. Like, I don't think he's going to be above 5, but I just couldn't put him lower than 5. I couldn't put Jalen Hurts above him. I couldn't put Pat Mahomes above him because of the talent that he has to throw through. I think Dak Prescott is going to have more talent to throw to this year than Pat Mahomes is. I think the running backs in Dallas are better. I think the number 1 receiver in Dallas is better. I think the tight end is pretty comparable as far as fantasy goes. It's close. And with, I think Dak has more rushing upside than Mahomes. I think Dak is up there. I don't know why you guys are so low on him.
Well, I'll keep my rebuttal to a minimum because again, we've learned we can go down this rabbit hole and spend a bit too much time.
Yeah, I tried to keep it short.
I see him in the same limelight as I do Aaron Rodgers. His situation got worse. He lost Cooper. CD has never proven to be a number 1. He's proven to be a good number 2, but nothing to write home about. So let's just assume CD replaces Amari Cooper and is who he could be. Who replaces him at 2? Gallup coming off an ACL? Maybe. I mean, if he does,
why not?
Fine. If he does, fine. But if he doesn't, then what? You're rocking James Washington and Jalen Tolbert? That's a rough wide receiver room to have CD and James Washington as your number 2. Okay. Really quickly, on top of that, Now, here's what this is hinged on. If he can get back to his days where he's rushing for 600 yards and 6 touchdowns, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Not quite 5. I think he's more 6, 7, 8 range, but he hasn't. He rushed for 3 touchdowns a year ago. He rushed for 1 last year and 100. I mean, granted, he came off an injury, whatever. You make any case that you want. He has to get to that territory for him to be anywhere near your ranking. So if he does, sure. I see him as a poor man's Patrick Mahomes. Not in terms of play style, but in terms of production. So I disagree with you there. I think that Mahomes is much better a quarterback and the weapons are.
Well, I think the talent of Mahomes is better. Yes.
It's arguably better. I mean, he has a much better coach. He has a better offensive line and his weapons, in my opinion, are better. So I cannot fathom without Dak getting back to this crazy rushing total that he had 4 years ago. And him being that high, I just can't. But that's me.
Just real quick, the rushing thing is his baseline was 606 for every year he was in the league until the year he got hurt.
Yeah.
So if
Until
his
leg
baseline is
snapped in half and he had to have a rod put in, I don't think
Okay,
he's ever
and
going to
he's
be
now-
the rusher. I don't.
he's
think
now coming, he's now 2 years removed from that. I just see him kind of see him getting more back onto that track. Where do you see it, Lauren?
I don't think you ever get back to the level of confidence that you could run with when something like that happened to you. So maybe physically his leg may be stronger with a steel rod in it, but I don't think you're ever going to be the same runner that you were when something like that happens. So I don't know if he's ever going to have that confidence to take off and run as often as he was. And then also, like Tori said, I think there is just a team that's trending down in general. And I think that the weapons around him, the offensive line is worse. And now you just have far less of a powerful offense on the field. And it's not, and he's still a top 10 guy for me. Obviously I have him at 9. I just like the upside of the other guys ahead of him on my list more. And and I would draft Dak in a heartbeat at the right price and be very excited about what he brings to the
I
table.
mean, you had him last year. Did you not?
Yeah, I did.
And
And
were
I
you
was
disappointed?
more disappointed than not most of the time. Yeah, he's boomer busts most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, I like the talent. I think he's good, not great. I think he belongs right in that 9 to 12 range.
I mean,
That's-
how are you
that's where I
disappointed with the tops? He finished 7 last year, Lauren. How are you upset with that? Because where did you
Well, I
draft
have him at 9 now, and we all agree that his team and his weapons are less than they were last year. So I think he's right where he should be.
Yeah.
He finished at 7, and now his situation's worse. He should be at 9.
It's funny. I like the consensus so much.
Yeah, it's
Like
awesome.
I really, really
it
do.
all worked out.
Like I look at my rankings, I'm like, man, I kind of like the consensus better than my own rankings. Because seriously, it brings some unbiased approach and it
Correct.
just evens things out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
probably have him a tad bit too low. You
I'm probably having him a tad bit too high. So
But
he's
either
coming.
way,
and I'm just right, like the porridge that's just not too hot or too cold.
little fucking Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
bitch. That would be what you would think of.
Yeah.
Yeah. The porridge.
All right, guys. So we go from 10 to Golden Boy, number 9 consensus. Can you take a guess?
Dangerous.
Trey Lance.
Oh shit.
Number
Trey Lance.
9. I have him ranked 8th. Lauren has him 7th. And Josh has him 11th.
Yeah.
Rough.
Yeah.
Rough, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'll go ahead and start it off. The sample size is small. If the sample size was larger and he did what he's been doing, he wouldn't be 8th. He'd be 3rd.
Yeah. Correct. I agree.
But he's really genuinely only played 1 fucking year at North Dakota State. Okay. Like, granted, the draft capital is there, the coaching is there, the offensive line is there, the weapons are there. None of those things are question marks. He's 6'4, he's not 5'9. Like, he has the intangibles. Everything checks all the boxes. He's never ran an official 40, but according to trainers, he's running a consistent like 4.5 in training. He's fast, he's big, he has a cannon of an arm. Last year, he had an expected fantasy per week, or expected fantasy points per week at 22.5, which would have put him like top 3, top 4.
Yeah.
And he was rushing for 60 yards a game. So again, small sample size. Also in North Dakota State, real quick, before I give the mic over to Lauren, who really likes Lance. At North Dakota State, dude, he threw 28 touchdowns and 0 picks and ran for 1,100 yards and 14 tutties. Granted, North Dakota State's a bit of a different competition level than the NFL.
Of course.
But
He's had a year to season and learn from the pros.
If he can do it, the upside is absolutely fucking insane. And even if he's disappointing, that's the kicker. It's like, even if he disappoints from an NFL standard,
Doesn't matter.
his
in
rushing
fantasy.
upside provides so much stability and safety in fantasy that I think he's right where he needs to be.
Yeah, which is why I have him where I have him at 11, because I think he's a QB1. I think the talent and the upside is QB1, but the unknown, it's so hard for me to put him up there. I mean, he had 70 pass attempts all of last year.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's not a whole lot to go on.
No doubt.
So it's just one of those things where that's why I got him where I got him, just because it's like, I think he's a QB1. I think the upside is top 5.
Yeah.
But the unknown, I can't put him that high.
It's a dice roll for sure.
Yeah,
And
what
it
do you
really
think, Lauren?
depends on your strategy, right?
He will come in as a top 5 fantasy quarterback by the end of the season if he stays healthy, and I don't have any doubts about it, because he's a perfect storm of character, physical ability, and the perfect situation
is huge.
with great talent around him, a great head coach, and ultimately, like we mentioned, he can be, he can have a lot of speed bumps along the way and a lot of rookie mistakes because essentially he is a rookie that's had a little bit more seasoning than a rookie.
Mhm.
Pat Mahomes in his second season throwing 50 touchdowns. I'm not saying he's going to go do something like that, but he's going to have a fantastic fantasy season. He may throw a bunch of picks and have some fumbles and some bonehead plays, but he's also going to have a crazy yards per attempt. He's going to make so many deep throws down the field and so many big runs.
Yeah.
And there's just going to be so much yards after catch with Debo and Ayuk involved, the way that our
Kittle.
offense is designed to have some of the best yak players on the field and great play design.
Yeah.
And so
All that benefits the quarterback. Yeah.
All he's got to do is just do what Shanahan asks him to do and then improvise a little bit. And he's going to have a phenomenal season. And I think you have him too low, Josh, and you're crazy.
I'm not saying Justin Fields is Lamar Jackson, but like, think about how different that situation is. Lamar gets drafted by just a top tier organization with great coaching, good offensive line. His weapons weren't elite by any standard, but he was just surrounded by winning culture. Imagine if Lamar Jackson would have been drafted like he should have been in the top 5 and he went to the Jets.
Yeah.
Like he could be out of the league by now. He could have been that guy who was the gadget quarterback that just fucking was fancy, but just couldn't do it.
Yep.
Instead, he went to
Tyrod Taylor. He could have been Tyrod Taylor.
Right. But instead, and that's why I'm so high on Lance, because I think of a rookie to go third. Like, are you kidding me? You went third to the Niners. Yeah. I mean, that's just a perfect storm. I agree in your verbiage. And I mean, I really, really like Lance, and he is a heavy target for me because he's going after a lot of guys like Matthew Stafford,
Derek Carr,
Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. I would take Lance over any one of those guys. So to take the actual value into consideration, he probably deserves to be even higher.
Yeah. And his consensus is what, 9?
In our rankings, yes.
Yeah.
Right?
9. Yeah. I think that's a fair spot.
Once
right
again,
there,
the
top 10.
consensus, man.
Yeah.
It's killing it.
It is. It really is. You got anything else to say, Josh?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right. So at number 8, we got Dangerous, my boy. When he sends you that phone emoji, you know he's dialed in, baby.
Dude,
What is your vibe? What is your opinion on that? Because I feel like it's gotten a lot of negative.
It's so fucking corny and tacky.
My first thought was, so I didn't read the comments. I saw the tweet pop up on the feed because I have one Twitter account for us, Full House Fantasy, that I just follow a bunch of fucking fantasy stuff. And I saw that tweet pop up and I just cringed and I was like, that is the corniest thing I've ever seen. And I immediately just screenshotted it and sent it to Tori and I just said, he is so fucking corny. And then I went back and read the comments beneath, and everyone's comments were corny as fuck and just a shitload of likes. Like everybody agreed. And I was like, thank God that I'm not the only one that thought that shit was horrible.
Do you think he part of me is like, is he being serious?
Is he playing it up? What's the fighter?
Or is he like trying to be that?
Who's the fighter that was the Olympic wrestler and he won the title and all that in the UFC? And he's like intentionally corny. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
He was like in the lighter divisions.
Are you talking about Michael Chandler?
No.
Because I love Michael Chandler, but he's the same kind of guy.
This dude
just
retired. This dude retired not too long ago.
Yeah.
But he was dominant, but he was intentionally corny and he would say shit like that. But I don't think Russell is. I think he's being himself, which is Mr. Corny.
I think he's playing like a caricature. Like I think he wants to be that guy, and that's the only way he knows how to go about it is just to say these stupid corny things.
Carlton gifts up and shit.
Yeah. It's like I think he wants to be that like I'm locked in. I'm like this cool guy, you know, and it's just like he doesn't know how to go about it.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
It is ultra corny coming from a diehard Bronco fan, but I don't give a fuck.
He's the kind of guy that like older dudes like John Elway probably think he's so cool.
Yeah.
And everyone under 50 is like, that is the lamest shit I've ever seen.
Oh, he is locked in. I'm glad we got this guy.
Yeah, exactly right.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
Like all of our dads think that shit.
Love it.
Right.
Damn, bro. Did you see what Russ said on Twitter?
They roll up with the fucking high socks and the fucking New Balance and like, dude, Russell's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He should get sponsored by New Balance.
Right. Shape ups.
Either way.
Yeah. Yeah. The funny thing is it's corny as hell, but by tomorrow, dude, no one's gonna even care.
Right. And if he's fucking killing it on the field and he's locked in,
it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
He does. The funniest part is, as corny as it is, he really does seem like, and maybe it's because I follow Denver Broncos. I'm sure he's not the only one working out, but he sure seems like for the top guys, like the actual elite guys who have been elite for the last 5 years, I see more of him fucking putting in work than I do any other guy.
No one doubts that. He's been the hardest working quarterback, I think,
Since he came into the
ever.
league. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why, because he was what, third round?
Third round. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then stole the
undersized.
Stole the job from who was
Matt Flynn.
massively overpaid, and Matt Flynn,
Matt
who was
Flynn,
Aaron
yeah.
Rodgers' backup that year he got hurt.
Yeah.
Who then went to the Raiders, who got his job stolen by Derek Carr.
Just like all the best quarterbacks, they have massive chips on the shoulder because they got slighted at some point. Aaron Rodgers getting, not picked
Dropping in
number
the
one, going
first.
down to the 25th pick or whatever it
Tom
was.
Brady.
Yeah.
Tom Brady getting picked in the 6th round, all of that shit.
Yeah, it seems like the number one guys, very few of them actually are like winning Super Bowls. I mean, even like Patrick Mahomes, like when the Chiefs picked Patrick Mahomes, I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
I was too. Yeah. I was like,
Like-
that's a reach.
Yeah, geez.
Mhm.
Yeah, God, how
Texas
stupid I am
Tech.
now.
Texas Tech. Yeah.
So anyway, on to Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Consensus number 8.
Consensus number 8. I have him 6th, Lauren 10, and Josh 8.
Right on the nose.
I'm the Raider fan, baby. I like it. Okay, so here's my thing. Russell Wilson's going into what I believe, not just because I'm a Bronco fan, but what I believe is going to be the best situation and scheme he's ever played under in his career. Pete
Mhm.
Carroll runs the fewest plays in the NFL. He's ultra run heavy, and he does not ever deviate from the plan. No matter how fucking hot Russ is, he's not going to feed the heavy hand. And then he's going to ask Russ to play hero ball in the fucking
I was gonna
last
say,
3 minutes
until-
of the fourth quarter because they've dedicated to run the ball 35 fucking times.
And even
Yeah.
when the
Seattle was-
defense and the other team knows they have to throw down the field and score, he still pulls it off somehow. repeatedly.
Seattle was
And he-
dead last in plays run last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Dead last, by far, too.
last. And they were for the last 5 years, if I'm
Mhm.
bottom 3 for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to be some crazy pass happy team like
Pete
the
Carroll probably
Chargers.
thought Russell was cool as fuck too.
With his bubble gum and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, he definitely did. So I don't necessarily think the Broncos have a talent like DK Metcalf, but I think
I think
number-
Sutton's close.
I think our number 2 guy is, I think our number 1 and our number 2 are better than Lockett. Both of them. I think Sutton and Judy are better than Lockett. And I think Tim Patrick is like 10 times the receiver that his third option ever was, ever.
Tim Patrick is probably closer to Lockett
In terms of
they're
talent, right? Like
correct.
Lockett is a nobody, in my opinion, without Russell Wilson.
yeah.
That chemistry was
He's
so
talented.
great. Like
He's a
Randall
good
Cobb.
receiver.
Like Randall
a good
Cobb
receiver.
is Cobb because of Rodgers. He's
Correct.
average, dude. Average. Even in his prime, he was average. Either
Yeah.
way. So I think he's going to be surrounded with, like, as a whole, probably the best talent. I mean, you could make a case, dude. Lockett and DK last year and the year before were pretty stout, but I think overall best talent. I think
Yeah.
best, most
Deeper. We'll say
favorable-
deeper talent.
most favorable fantasy coach.
Mhm.
Offensive line's better. Don't get me wrong. Broncos do not have a top tier offensive line, but it is better than Seattle has had
No.
the last couple of years.
That's not hard to beat.
Not hard to beat at all. And a few things. Until 2021, Russell Wilson, you know how many games he missed due to injury?
Like 2,
3, I think.
0.
0.
Not
Shit.
one.
Up until last season, right? When he had the thumb thing
Yeah.
or whatever it was.
His
So
finger.
he's never missed a
Like,
start since he came into the league.
Never once did he miss a start ever until last year. So
It's crazy.
durability cannot be
It's
questioned.
crazy because he took so many hits too. It's not like he was just in a clean pocket all the time. Dude's running around, scrambling, taking hits left and right. He's just
One of those things like Eli Manning.
extremely
You didn't
durable.
expect Eli Manning to have the record for like most consecutive starts because
It makes sense with him because he wasn't running around and taking hits. He
But
was
I'm just saying,
fucking
like-
drop like someone killed him anytime anyone got near him. So
but you just think with the with the way the NFL is, with as many hits as these guys take regardless, like you would just think there's gonna be times where guys miss games. But
but you look
somehow-
at his build and it just kind of makes sense. So you guys thick as fuck.
He is
The way he
thick.
is built, like
Yeah.
He's dense for sure.
Yeah.
You know how many times he finished a top 12 quarterback from 2012 until 2021, other than
I'm
20?
gonna,
He was
yeah, I'm gonna say every year.
every single year.
Yeah.
As a QB1, every
Yeah.
single year since 2012. He finished as a top 5 quarterback 4 times and
Mhm.
a top 6 quarterback 5 times.
he's also shown the ability to have massive game-winning weeks for you in fantasy as well. He's had some big. I remember when Seattle would put up 50 burgers on everybody. That one season they went to the Super Bowl. It was just every week they were blowing everybody out. And so he has the ability to
Yeah.
do that.
So
He's
basically
very
out of his-
consistent, but he also has those big boom weeks too every now and then.
and then my
So
last
basically, out of his 10 years in the league, 9 of them have been at least a top 6 quarterback.
That's
No,
crazy.
not 9. No,
You said
12.
you said 6
12.
and then 5. He had
So he had 4 top 5 finishes in that time
Uh-huh.
frame, and then he had another top 6 finish. So he finished
one top 6. Okay.
5
Gotcha.
times. So half
Gotcha.
of those years he was top 6.
Yeah.
It's pretty strong.
Okay.
2 more things. Okay. One, since 2017 up until 2021, he's the only quarterback to throw for 30 plus touchdowns every year. The only one, which is pretty crazy. I mean, you think Brady,
Yeah.
Rodgers, all those guys were in the league.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we can't just talk about things of the past, right? Like we can talk about, oh, he's been great for his whole career, but things happen. He's 33 years old. I think he's going into his prime, but that may be optimism being a Bronco fan. Last year,
I don't know. I think he's in his prime. I don't think he's going into his prime.
last year before he got hurt, he was leading the league in passer rating and yards per attempt. He still got it, dude. He
Yeah.
got hurt. He hurt his finger ligament on the side of the field with a torn finger ligament. He's fucking squeezing a stress ball. Like
Yeah,
he
tapes
just
it up and
wants
let me
it
get
more
back
than
out there.
Anyone.
Yeah.
And I love that about him because you have some guys who pull a fucking, they got a hangnail and they're out for 3 weeks.
Mhm.
So anyway, man, I love Russ. I think there's maybe a little recency bias that because of his injury last year, but he's elite. And I think he's going into the best situation.
I think with him going to, like you said, he's, been a top 6 quarterback 5 times, half the time he's been in the league. I think being top 8 where our consensus is, I think is pretty close to where he's going to finish. Because he's going to a new system and there's always going to be little kinks to work out. I think he's going to definitely finish inside the top 10. Are you higher on Russ now because he's a Bronco than say you would have been if he was still in Seattle? And have you always been really high on Russ?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I've always liked Russ. I mean, I'll be honest, in 2012, I was 17, not really playing fantasy football to the level I am now. I've recently, in the last really like 3 or 4 years, really gotten into it. So like, probably not. It was Russ. I'll be honest. Russ was never a guy I would like super targeted. And honestly, he always seemed like he was one of the elite guys that would drop in drafts over the Patrick Mahomes or Brady's or guys like that. I feel like Russ would always kind of drop a little bit more. So no, I never targeted him, but of course I'm a Bronco fan and I'm fucking super excited. We've been rocking with some bottom barrel garbage quarterbacks and
Eddie Bridgewater, Drew Lock, Trevor
I'm as
Siemian.
excited as I was when we got
How
Peyton
could you not
Manning.
be way more excited about him in this situation than he was slowest rate of play in the NFL by a mile?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With old school Pete Carroll is at the helm. And honestly, you said, he's never played. He may not have a talent like he had in DK back in Seattle, in Denver. I think maybe from a physicality standpoint, you might be right. But Sutton as a football player, there's a difference between someone who's big and fast and strong and a fucking fluid football player, which is also big, fast and strong.
Sure.
And Sutton as a football player, I like more than DK Metcalf.
Well, his talent in Denver his talent pool is a lot deeper in Denver than it ever was in Seattle. In Seattle, he had really good top guys and then nobody behind, where Denver, it's talent all the way through.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So cool, man. I'm excited. God, I'm excited to watch them.
And they're gonna have to score a lot more points in that
Yeah.
division than they did in
Yeah.
the NFC West, which was a lot more defense and not the
Low scoring
shootout
games. Yeah, low
stuff.
scoring
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, as much as we want to be balanced, we're going to get into some games where we are going to have to lean on Russ.
Yep.
So anyway, on to the consensus 7. This is a little bit of a surprise, I'll be honest, is Kyler Murray coming into consensus 7. I have him low. I'm really low on Murray, I admit, at 9.
Yeah, that's where I had him too.
Lauren has him at 5 and Josh has him at 9. So you and I
I'm a little low
spot
too.
on a few players.
Yeah.
God, like I'm probably too low on him, I admit.
You are.
But I really hate Arizona this year. Just like I hate the Cowboys. I think they are trending downward significantly.
And that's fine. You can hate them and still love Kyler Murray as a fantasy quarterback.
I'm probably putting too much weight on one thing, and that's, in my opinion, his lack of durability and his character.
Yeah.
I think he has poor character. I think he cares more about getting the bag and being
Well,
the
he got the
dude
bag. Does that
than he
change
does-
anything for
than
you?
he does winning. Yeah. I mean, speaking of breaking news, right? He just got paid 5 years, 230.5 million, 180 whatever million guaranteed.
Yeah.
Seems a bit like a discount looking at Deshaun's contract, honestly.
Well,
Yeah, but then when Deshaun's contract gets
He's at least
voided,
gonna play
Kyler's going to
football.
be Kyler's going to be up there when Deshaun's contract gets voided.
Yeah. I mean,
But Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if his character is really an issue. He doesn't seem like a bad character kind of guy to me.
I think what you mean is he's the antithesis of Russell Wilson, who's out there just like
grinding
and all for the team and all for the win. Kyler is very much a me first type of person. It seems
that's what I mean. And I just mean he's into the drama. Like he's on Twitter talking shit, deleting his team.
I'm gonna hold out.
And stupid shit like that. Like just be.
That's supposed to be the shit wide receivers do, not the fucking leader of your team, the head of your franchise.
So that's maybe my issue, and maybe it's because of my fanhood that I've discounted him a bit further. And he probably is too low, but he's also 5'9", 200 pounds. He's a little bit thick for 5'9". He has fucking huge hands. He has a cannon arm. He's probably the best deep ball in all of football, but one hit from Calais Campbell and that motherfucker's ending up in the stands. Yeah. So like, that's my concern a little bit more so than any of the other guys with rushing upside like he has.
Yeah.
And I think he's a little bit timid, and rightfully so. He's been in the league enough to know, man, gosh, do I really want to?
It's a little different here.
Fucking take that lick from the safety coming across. I'm not quite sure I do.
Yeah. That's where I see it too. I think his talent is there. His arm is amazing. He can run the ball. He's athletic. He's got the rushing ability, but the injury concern, I mean, he's been banged up every year. And I just kind of think that's kind of the norm
in the year. It's the worst timing possible, right? In the fantasy playoffs, he's probably still playing, but he's not at capacity and not rushing at all because he has a sprained ankle or a little bit of a soft tissue thing. That's
I see all those points, but what he's shown to be able to do when he's on the field is as elite as it gets.
It is.
And like to say he's a good rusher is an understatement by a mile. I mean, I think he's only second to Lamar in what he can do with his elusiveness and his ability to evade tacklers and get in the end zone.
Yeah.
Find the edge of the field and score constantly on his legs. Yeah. And then also can read the field and make every throw and everything else. And if it all comes together, you're looking at maybe QB1. Like that's the top.
He does have QB1 upside.
Yeah. Potential,
and that's why I say I struggled with Kyler probably more than any other player because I really think Arizona is a dumpster fire. They have a horrible offensive line. I think their coach is fucking horrible. I think D-Hop's coming off PEDs. He's 30 years old. AJ Green's 34. And with
D-Hop being suspended, like how great is Kyler going to be?
Offensive line issues. Like, man, it's like, God, he's just not trending in the way that Trey Lance is. Like, I'd take Trey Lance over Kyler Murray any day of the week. But also, he is a much better passer than Lamar Jackson with the football. Much better. And
he can just flick his wrist and
slightly less a rusher.
Yeah.
So that's why then I think that I'm like, but I have Lamar super high. Like, God, it's like I just can't.
But you don't doubt Lamar's character, his toughness, anything like that, though. Yeah. That's the things. That's probably what's setting you apart. And you like the Ravens organization a whole lot more than Arizona. So it makes sense.
I ditto everything you said about Kyler, Torrey. I agree 100%. All your concerns are my exact same concerns. It's just
And this is coming from a guy who lives in Arizona.
Not a Arizona fan though.
Well, another guy that our consensus is lower than definitely national consensus and even analyst consensus is Patty Mahomes coming in at 6.
Yeah.
I have him at 7. Lauren has him at 4. And Josh has him at 7. Man, you and I have been.
It's crazy. As much as we argue, we have a lot of the same.
I'm the contrarian here. Apparently, I'm the one that's always way off of you guys.
Yeah, you are. So, Patty Mahomes, man. I mean, very similar conversation to the conversation that we had about a few other guys. Aaron Rodgers being one of them. It's his coach is the same. His offensive line is still going to be good. Kelsey's 33. He's trending a little bit downwards. There's a lot of new pieces in that offense,
which is what scares me.
And he lost Tyreek Hill. Now, let me share one thing with you real quick before we get on to your opinion, Lauren. So I looked at last year, right? And I've been always the stand stating that quarterback is more important than wide receiver. I believe it. I still do believe it.
You're talking about in fantasy?
In fantasy and in real life. I think the quarterback makes the receiver more than the receiver makes the quarterback.
Okay.
I really do. With that being said, one caveat and one exception might be Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll share something with you. Last year, in the weeks that Patty Mahomes scored 30 plus points, which is the weeks that you're drafting Patrick Mahomes for. You got to
Yeah.
get those weeks if you're drafting a quarterback. Mahomes has been a consensus top round 3 or higher, but closer to round 1 or 2 in most home leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, he scored 30 plus points in weeks 1, 4, 10, and 15. Okay. In those same weeks, Tyreek scored 37 fantasy points in week 1, 47 fantasy points in week 4, 27 fantasy points in week 10, and 33 fantasy points in week 15.
So basically
Patrick
30
Mahomes
points. Yeah.
never scored 30 points without Tyreek going off,
Mm-hmm.
breaking shit, throwing up the peace sign and breaking one and taking
And
it.
how many of those were 10-yard ins that Tyreek would just turn into 70-yard touchdowns?
Now, like I said in episodes in the past, it's peanut butter and jelly.
Mm-hmm.
They're better with one another than they are on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But man, it's hard to negate the fact that Mahomes really, Tyreek's one of those guys that's just a bit different than everyone else.
Yeah.
And
I think with Tyreek, Mahomes went to elite. Without Tyreek, he goes to a very solid
good.
top 5
Yeah.
quarterback 1.
Yeah.
But he's QB 1 with Tyreek more often than not because of those cherry on top plays where he hits him on stride and Tyreek turns the corner and he's gone.
Yeah.
Time after time. And it just, those routine throws turn into 80-yard touchdowns. And absolutely, I think it's a huge loss for that offense. But I still think Mahomes, I think he's going to find ways as a winner in a great offense with one of the greatest offensive minds in the game, still as his head coach.
Yeah.
He's going to use his legs more. I don't think Kelsey's lost a step. 33 is prime for tight end. I think he's still going to have a huge year.
Yeah.
And, I think he finds ways to make it happen, and it's not going to be as pretty. But it's hard for me to take this guy with what he's done so far out of the top 5. It's just really difficult.
Yeah. Josh,
I mean,
how do you see it, man?
I'm a Raiders fan. It's hard for me to be high on Patrick Mahomes. I think he is an elite talent. I mean, you can't deny that. I think he is a superstar quarterback.
Yeah.
But I just think with him losing Tyreek, with CEH not really ever showing the ability to be the guy, and with them not really bringing anyone else in on the running game to compete against him for that, I think you're going to get more of the same from CEH. I'm a little high on him. I think he's going to have an upside because Tyreek's gone, but I think CEH is going to be who he is. I think without Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes takes a little bit of a step back. Kelsey's going to be fine. And then you got the rest of the guys in Juju and MBS and Mecole Hardman and all these guys who are just guys.
Who knows, right?
Yeah, who knows?
It could be dynamite and it could be extremely exciting. It really, really could be if MVS ends up just taking a leap and Sky Moore's that fucking badass gadget guy and Juju's this badass slot guy that he once was. And
then it could also be
amazing.
And it could be, holy shit, they miss Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
And that was the linchpin that held this offense together. It could be either or. And I just think with the talent, he's going to be up there. I got him at 7. I think he's going to be up there. He's going to be a really good quarterback, but I don't see QB1 potential anymore.
And a big kicker for me is this doesn't take into play my rankings in terms of value, but he's going to inevitably be in home leagues drafted in the 1st or 2nd round.
Yeah.
He just is.
Just
every
the name alone.
Year he's overdrafted. Even in the years where he balls out, he's overdrafted.
Yeah.
That plays a big role too. All right. So on to the consensus 5. We got Joe Cool, baby.
Yeah.
Coming off a Super Bowl loss.
Yeah.
In his first full season in the NFL. I have him 5. Lauren has him 8. And Josh, you got him up at 3. Top 3. Made your top 3 list. I like it. Josh, since you have him all the way up at top 3, man, go ahead and kick us off, man. How do you view Joey?
How could you have Tom Brady so low and have Joe Burrow so high when ultimately they're both pocket passers? They're going to throw for a lot of yards and throw some touchdowns. But do you think the rushing upside is that drastic of a difference over what Tom Brady's going to do?
Absolutely. I think he's another year.
He's going to run for 600 yards or what?
No, but Tom Brady's going to run for 30.
Yeah.
You know, so I think with Joe Burrow,
Burrow
another
will
year
run for 150. It's going to make
another
the
year
difference.
removed from another year removed from his knee injury, another year in the system with T. Higgins, with Jamar Chase. This team has nothing to do but be better, if not the same. And I think it started clicking at the end of last year. They started really getting in a groove, really getting into the rhythm. And I think they're going to just run it back.
Yeah.
You know, they figured out what worked, what didn't work, and they know the system and they're going to just roll with it. And I think he finished where he finished last year because the first half of the year wasn't that great, but he's going to have a whole season of what he did in the second half of last season. And that's just going to boost him up. I think he is a top 3 quarterback. He's young. He's talented. He has the weapons. He has the offense. He has the offensive line. I think he's in a prime position to just take off and be even better than he was last year.
Yeah. Lauren, you have him all the way down at
That's
8.
shocking at 8.
I will admit, I do think you're a bit low, but go ahead and plead your case.
I think I mean, it's just hard for me to have a guy that high that has such limited rushing upside. I get that he's athletic and all that stuff, but that is not what he does, nor does he want to do. He's going to jog for a first down every now and then. He's not going to run in any touchdowns. And I think we saw his ceiling near the end of last year, which is great, but I'd much rather have a guy who gets the cheat code of having the legs and gets me rushing touchdowns and gets me 600-700 yards rushing on the ground, which he's not going to do. And
I mean,
so
he had 120
yards.
yards.
He has to be perfect and unbelievable to get to be top 5 value as a quarterback. Whereas some of these other guys can be super flawed and still just kind of cruise to a top 5 finishing fantasy, guys like Hurts and Lance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, me being a bit closer to middle ground in this situation, I think this may be the first time that I am. If you could guarantee me the pass volume that I think he deserves, Lauren and I were talking a bit about this before we started recording. I would have Burrow second. I would have him above Herbert.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Herbert provides that much more rushing upside. He rushes for 300 yards a year himself.
And 3 touchdowns.
The difference is the pass volume. In the Chargers organization, they fucking go for it on 4th down every single goddamn time. And they throw the ball a ton. And
Herbert had 150 more attempts last year.
I think they were 3rd or 4th, maybe higher in pass attempts last year. Okay.
And so, Burrow is great, but dude, the talent of Herbert is even better. I'm sorry.
No, see, I disagree.
I
think Herbert.
I think the talent is comparable.
Yeah, I think it's very comparable. I think the weapons in Cincinnati, receiving wise, are better. Yep. And I think that if he could throw the ball 150 more times, like let's just say he threw the ball the same exact amount of times as Herbert, his efficiency will go down inevitably, like it does with anyone. But Herbert threw the ball 670 times last year. Burrow threw the ball 520. Okay.
Yeah. It's 150 more attempts.
10 more attempts a week. With Joe Burrow throwing the ball to fucking Higgins, Boyd, Chase, mixing out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And Zach Taylor calling the plays. Granted, you can't guarantee me that.
No. But I think with them finding their rhythm at the end of last year.
Yeah, they're talking that they're going to let him throw the ball more. They plan to allow him to throw the ball more. But you don't know. And at 520 to 550 attempts, it is not enough volume to compete with Herbert. It's just not. However, he led the league in passer rating, not passer rating, but PFF's passer rating grade. So he was the highest graded PFF passer last year, according to PFF. You know, he had a ton of other efficiency metrics, like he had the cleanest passer rating or he had the best passer rating in a clean pocket. He had the best passer rating past 10 yards. He had all these other things. The dude is a baller. Yeah, the other thing I love about him is he's a fucking dude. He has swagger. Like
he's a fun guy to root for.
Yeah. And other than the volume, if he could get me 670 attempts, he's throwing for 5,045.
Yeah.
5,050. I think he could do it. And he has the talent around him to do it. But the kicker for me, for middle ground between you two, is truly just the volume. So
yeah, I think the volume's up, and that's why I have him ranked.
I probably do have him a little too low. Like
that's where I have him. Why I have him ranked where I have him.
That's the beauty of these discussions. Is all of us are like,
our consensus is better than my spot where he is.
And on to number 4. You guys say what you needed to?
Yep.
Yeah.
On to number 4, we got Action Jackson, Lamar, which I have him at consensus at 4. Lauren has him at 6. one spot below Murray. I think he's given Murray the
Yeah.
slot due to the passing upside. And then we got Lamar at 4 for Josh. Damn, Josh, you and I, seriously,
We've had a lot of the same guys.
and a lot of the same guys. So Lamar Jackson at number 4 consensus. Lauren, you got him below Kyler Murray. Am I correct in saying
This
that
is
you're
one of
just-
those
is the
situations.
passing volume?
Well, it's one of those situations where if I'm in a draft and I'm on the clock right now and they're both there, I'm probably picking Lamar, even though I put
Kyler.
Murray one
Yeah.
spot higher. And ultimately the rankings, I'm trying to decide who ultimately do I think is going to score more fantasy points this season. I think more often than not, Murray probably would, but I don't like all the risk involved. And
Yeah.
so I think Lamar is a safer pick. I like rooting for him more as well. And so
But if you're
more often-
projecting out the end of the season, you think Kyler scores
and
more.
if Murray stays healthy, I think he outscores Lamar just because of the situation that he's in. Not,
Yeah.
he's got talent around him, and also they're going to be a bad team that's going to be losing a lot, and he's going to have to play hero ball, whereas Lamar is going to be constantly draining the clock, winning football games,
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
need to do that. So, love Lamar. I'll have him on probably at least one or two of my teams this year.
He's such a fun guy to have on your team.
Yeah.
And that 2019 version of Lamar. he
That
only
was
played-
my best fantasy team I've ever had. I
Mine
drafted
too.
Lamar.
15 games that year too.
I drafted Lamar in the 14th round, and
I did
that
too, yep.
year, I
Yep.
had every person that went off. Eckler had his best year. Fucking Chris Godwin's monster year. I had everybody that year, and Lamar it was the cherry on top because he was putting up 50 a game, and I was just blowing everybody out of the water. It was amazing. So
Yeah.
I'll
I
always
took
have a big warm spot for him because he won me my first legit championship.
Lamar in the 12th round and then Darren Waller in the 13th round before he had his breakout.
Yeah.
And I did not even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
don't
I
know
mean,
how.
that same year, all of us have a story, but I called, man, in 2019. I remember I was working out. I was living at the Cycle Apartments, and the guy that's in our Dynasty League, Anthony, can confirm this. We were watching ESPN, and I'm like, Lamar Jackson's going to win the MVP this year. Watch. He's like, shut the fuck up, whatever. And sure shit, he did. Like, it's
Yeah.
just one of those things where, like, but that's the thing. It's not that difficult. Like, he's nowhere near the talent of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Nowhere fucking near
Yeah.
As a
in
quarterback,
terms of
as a quarterback.
passing the football.
Yeah.
But gosh, what that dude can do.
Mhm.
And it brings
cheat
risk.
code. It's
He
a
could
cheat
also
code.
tear his ACL in week 3 and be
Mhm.
fucking done.
Yep.
Which
Yeah.
even if Brady tears his ACL, he's shown you in the past, he'll just play through it.
Yeah.
He can play
Yeah.
the same football with a torn
To
ACL.
go and win a Super Bowl
Yeah.
with it. The
That
He
Braves
is just
one.
he is the definition
the
of what they say when they say this guy is just a football player. Like Lamar is just that guy that he is just a football player. He's just a baller. He knows what to do with the ball in his hands, whether it be throw it or run it. He's just a stud.
Do you have any concerns about the replacement of Hollywood? Because I will say, as much as I like Bateman and Andrews, of course,
Yeah.
the depth behind them is fucking scary.
I honestly thought it was bad timing for them to trade Hollywood. I don't understand why they did it. I thought him and Lamar started really getting on the same page through the latter part of the season last year. And I feel like they had something special they were developing. And I think Lamar knew it. And I think that's why he was so upset. Not that they were just close friends, but I think they had something special getting going.
Yeah.
Because Hollywood he has elite top end speed and
Yeah.
he's a good route runner. So he guy can get separation, and Lamar needs separation. He's not a tight window throwing type of guy. He needs to throw a guy open, and he's one of the
Sure.
best at getting separation. And Lamar could just throw it to a place where Hollywood would go.
Yeah.
And so I think that was bad timing for that. I don't critique the Ravens organization and the moves they make personnel wise very often, but
Well,
I'm
who'd
not
they
a big
take with
fan of
that
that
pick?
move.
Did they take Kyle Hamilton with that pick?
No, isn't that where they took isn't that when they took
Oh, they took the defensive lineman from Georgia.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Right? Didn't they?
I don't know. Was it Hamilton, the safety, where they?
I know
him?
they took
don't know.
Hamilton, but I think they may have. I think they honestly did take Hamilton with that pick because he dropped into the teens and they traded that pick before AJ Brown was traded. So I'm pretty
Okay,
sure
that's what it
they
was,
took-
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they took Kyle Hamilton with that pick.
And he'll be fine, obviously.
Which if he's who he at some point was a consensus like number 1 overall pick at a certain point throughout the year. Like he's the best player in the draft, not so much first overall pick because of his position, but like there were talks that he was the best player in the draft.
He couldn't have gone to a better place.
Yeah.
I don't think he was worth that pick, but with the Ravens picking him, I think he'll be a all
Made
pro
you change
safety.
your mind, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be an all pro safety because they're going to
Yeah.
put him in the right place at the right time.
Here's the thing. I think I think the tier break.
They took it says that real quick. That pick turned into Iowa center Tyler Lindenbaum or Linderbaum.
He'll be an all pro.
So
He'll
they
be
they
phenomenal.
drafted a stud offensive lineman to help
Yeah.
Lamar out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was needed. So, I'm not quite sure if I would break the tier at Burrow or Lamar. That's kind of a tough one for me because of the volume. Burrow might just be Stafford, right? In terms of
Yeah.
fantasy production.
Yeah.
But if he can throw the ball the same amount of times as Herbert, he will not be. And he will throw the ball. He will throw for 5,000 yards, 45 plus.
Yeah.
Which is good enough no matter what his rushing upside is to be top 5. So
Yep.
anyway, I would probably say at this point, I'm breaking the tier without knowing at Lamar. And I think for the first time in a while, we have 4 guys in tier 1 that I think are kind of cemented into tier 1. And you probably disagree with one of those guys, but let's move right on to him. The guy I'm probably absolute highest on, who I may not get any of, because gosh, this guy is catching fire within the fantasy community.
All we can hope is that the fire runs really hot and we still have enough time before fantasy draft season in late August, early September, that people get worn out of hearing him and then they start dropping him down again, and then
They're
we
like,
can
"No,
snatch
he's
him up.
overdrafted.
Yeah, everybody's talking about this guy.
So consensus pick over Lamar Jackson, over Burrow, over Mahomes,
Insane.
over Murray
Insane.
It probably is insane.
is Jalen my Brown Hurts.
We like to juggle with knives when we're still learning.
You guys
to
are
juggle on this show.
crazy.
Jalen my Brown Hurts, man. My goodness. I love him. I love him. And he's my hottest take of the year. I really do. I have him at 3rd. He's all the way up at 3 in the consensus because Lauren also has him 3rd. And you have him down.
You act
at
like we're so
6.
nuts, but you only have him 3 spots lower, Josh.
I mean,
I
if
have
you
him
were
at 6th.
reasonable, if you were reasonable and had him above Dak, you would have him pretty dang close to where we got him.
Listen, I think he is a super talented guy. I think he has potential to be a top 5 quarterback. I have him at 6. I have him just outside the top 5 because I think Dak barely squeaks by him. But the fact that he's like his consensus is over Lamar and over Joe Burrow, like I just can't see it. There's no way I can't see him finishing higher than Burrow or
right
higher than
now-
Lamar.
Right now on Fantasy Pros, there's about 35. I mean, you can select like 100 experts, but right now I think I have 35 experts, the top 35 of last year. And he's consensus like 9, 8 or 9, maybe
Yeah.
7. I may have checked. I think actually I checked. I think he's 7.
And I got him at
So,
6
Yeah, you're
You know?
you're definitely much more closer to ECR
consensus. Yeah.
expert consensus ranking than Lauren and I are. I back it up. I will back it up any day of the week. The more I think about it, the more fucking heavy I am. Talk about making a gamble on the Super Bowl. Give me the Eagles. Give me the fucking Eagles at what their current odds are. And I don't know what they are. They're probably not even favored to win their division. And I think they are significantly the best team in their division in a weak ass conference with what shows to be the recipe to win deep in the playoffs. And that's a great offensive line, a phenomenal defense.
Should have picked
and
their
good
defense
coaching.
in the mock draft that we did a little bit ago. If they were on, I don't know if they'd already been picked, but
They may have not even
Philly's
gotten
defense
picked.
is going to be nasty.
Dude, they have Darius Slay,
Yeah.
and they just went and signed Bradbury from the
Mhm.
Giants, who's a stud. So they have 2 probably top 10 corners. They have Fletcher Cox.
Who's that
Gosh,
monster that they
who's
just
the
drafted.
Well, they drafted a monster, Jordan Davis.
Yeah, Jordan Davis.
Yeah.
That guy's
And they
fucking
have-
might be the biggest man in the NFL right now.
Yeah. And they have another stud defensive tackle,
Yeah.
Hargrave.
Hargrave's a fucking
Who's a
stud.
beast? Their interior defensive line, you will not be able to run on the Eagles
And they
at
get
all.
pressure.
So not only can you not run on them,
you know,
but they
you
have
know who
2
they're a
top 10
nightmare for?
corners.
Tampa. They're a nightmare matchup for Tampa
exactly.
because the interior pressure they'll be able to develop against
Yeah.
Brady, he's not
Yeah.
going to be able to do shit.
Yeah.
And then they got the corners also to lock down the receivers.
I
so-
love the Eagles, and my pick. If you had to pick a team that's not favored to win their division to win the Super Bowl, Eagles are my pick.
Yeah. I love the
good
Eagles. I
Now,
love
maybe
Jalen
you can
Hurts.
get a guy out of the AFC West. Hey, pick the fucking Chargers, whatever else.
Yeah,
Cool.
whatever. No, yeah.
But I really love the Eagles, and I love Hurts even more. I just think he has the recipe, man. That's all.
Hey, listen, I love Hurts.
Probably likely to rush for the most yards as a quarterback this season. I think he'd be my front runner.
Not over
I would
Lamar.
I would say he's gonna be in a
I
full.
think Kyler and Lamar rush more than.
I think in a fully
him.
healthy year, Jalen Hurts is good for 800. But he's the number one red zone back, quote unquote,
for
in a
rushing touchdown.
in what was a run heavy team. I think he's going to get you 10 touchdowns, 800 yards on the ground. Okay. If he can throw,
They did not bring in a power back to do any red zone work. That's the beauty of it.
And Sanders.
They got tiny guys that can't get it in the end zone.
So I just think that he's going to get all the red zone work. He's going to get you 800 plus on the ground. He's not quite the rusher Lamar Jackson is,
or Kyler
or Murray, but he's definitely third in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's equally as good a rusher as Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
In different ways. Like Jalen Hurts is faster, but whatever.
Allen just has like this thing.
Allen's a fucking tank.
But
I love Hurts. I love Hurts. I love the Eagles. I love AJ Brown. I love the offense.
Ridiculous weapon.
Listen, I love them. I'm big on Hurts. I'm big on the Eagles.
Yeah.
I cannot put him over guys like Allen, Herbert, Burrow, Jackson. Like, I mean, those guys alone, I just don't understand how you guys could have him
Allen and
higher
Herbert,
than
we
that.
don't have him above.
We don't have him above.
Okay,
Allen
but Burrow,
He's above
Jackson,
Burrow and Jackson,
which is crazy to me. Like, there's no way I have him sixth. I think that's as high as I was able to put him, which is still pretty high. I like him there.
Yeah, you're above ECR. I don't blame you one bit for your ranking. I just
it's hard for me to see it.
In the Eagles, and I mean, I sent you guys a meme the other day. He's the only player in his first 20 starts to throw for 4,000 yards and rush for 1,000 in NFL history ever.
Yeah.
Now, granted, did he drop the fucking ball and look horrible against Tampa? Yes, he looked like shit.
Yeah.
But guess what? You're not playing fantasy in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it matters, he may fold. I don't necessarily believe in him to win a Super Bowl.
Pressure situations, yeah.
But that's why they're not favored to win.
Didn't they bench him for Tua in the college championship game?
They're not even favored to win their division. And on paper, other than the quarterback, they beat the Cowboys in every single category. So people are discounting him. And anyway, I love Hurts. The guy has crazy rushing upside, and I think he's going to be smack dab in the middle between Kyler Murray.
But where's his ceiling? Do you think his ceiling is 1? Do you think his ceiling is QB1?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't.
I think he might throw for 4,000 and rush for 1,000. I really do. And I don't see Lamar doing that. I could see Kyler doing it.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen would have to have a bit of a down year for Hurts to surpass him at 1.
So is your ceiling 2 then, Lauren? I mean, he's top 2.
I think his ceiling is 2, and it is maybe crazy that I have him ranked at 3 with his ceiling being 1 spot higher. But I think his floor is so high because of his rushing upside that I think that you have,
sub 4.40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dude's
an unbelievable talent around him.
Ridiculous athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of margin for error because of his rushing upside, which is why I like him over Burrow, where like I said, I think Burrow has to be perfect.
Yeah.
Because he's just basically a pocket passer.
Yeah. So we'll move on and we can blow through these pretty quickly because I think that we have them pretty close to consensus. I've seen on ESPN, Mahomes is actually higher than Herbert, but on Fantasy Pros and I think Sleeper, they both have them right where we do. We have them consensus across the board. Herbert at 2 and Josh Allen at 1.
Yeah.
Herbert not only is elite in his talent, but he's in probably the most favorable scheme of any quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, because of the volume.
He gets to throw the ball a ton.
Yeah.
The coach lets him go for it on 4th down, so he gets an extra down every single possession, unlike most other teams. And his talent around him is legit. He doesn't have the rushing upside of Allen. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
But he's almost a lock for 5,040.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't.
And then
he pretty much did it last year.
Like 300 on the ground or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not like he's just standing in there.
He gives you a little bit of a boost there, right?
Yeah.
Like 5,040 and 303.
Yeah.
The difference is Allen gets you 8 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
That's the difference is he's featured in the red zone, not only as a passer, but like when the Bills get into the red zone as a prominent offense, you have about an 80% chance Allen's going to see that touchdown,
Yeah,
whether it be
he's throwing
passing
it
or
running
throwing.
it. Yep.
So
I mean, the thing is like, the volume for Herbert is insane at 670 pass attempts. Well, Allen had 650. So
right,
it's like even their passing volume is
Right.
very similar. And,
And then he
with
had
the
20
upside
red
of the,
zone carries.
correct. Yeah. So with the
Yeah.
upside of the rushing of Allen plus with very similar volume and passing, like, it's hard to put Herbert above him.
you can't. I don't think you can.
No.
I don't think there's any single case to be made that any single player is above Allen.
No.
You can argue with me the second five, but with the volume, with the talent, with the system, with everything to take into consideration is rushing upside, Josh Allen is going to win the MVP this year. He's, in my opinion, what should be the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. And if Gabriel Davis can be who I'm really hoping he is, that'll give him a legit number 2, which he has never had. And
has a quarterback ever finished number 1 in their position 3 years in a row?
I don't know if a quarterback has done it
In fantasy, at least, you know what I'm saying?
Why not? I mean, not in the last 10 years.
I'm trying to think of a guy who you could just like 3 years in a row. You're like number 1.
I mean,
number
maybe
one,
like
number
what,
one.
like Dan Marino, maybe if you go that far
Yeah,
back,
but
something
was
like
fantasy,
that.
Probably
yeah.
through the
But,
early
like,
to mid 80s.
Definitely not in the last 10 years. And I'm not even sure. I'm trying to think if since the 2000s, because dude, the prominent quarterbacks weren't always the best fantasy producers.
Correct. The Peyton Mannings, the Tom
Could
Brady's.
Drew Brees have done it?
I don't think Drew Brees.
No.
He may have
finished-
not even ever been first ever.
It's rare for any player of any position to be won
I
repeatedly.
mean, Kelsey did it
3-4
like
years in a
5
row.
years in a row.
Yeah, tight ends. Just that's
That's what I'm
Wide
saying with
receiver,
quarterback.
Antonio
Though.
Brown, I think, did it 3 years in a row. Running back, I think Marshall Falk was the last guy who did it like 3 or 4 years
Tomlinson
in a
probably did
row.
it.
Yeah, dude, yeah. I mean, LaDainian had 28 touchdowns that year.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, but for
That's what's crazy is
quarterbacks,
that
it's very
you
hard for
think 20
quarterbacks.
is crazy these days. Remember like the Sean Alexander and the
dude.
LaDainian Tomlinson days where like Sean Alexander had 27 tutties and LaDainian had 28, I think in the same year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like imagine if Derrick Henry got you 1,700 rushing yards and 28 touchdowns.
Yep. The days of fantasy where the entire first round was all running backs. No one picked anything else. No
So to
one-
wrap it up, our average consensus, we had Josh Allen 1, Herbert 2, Hurts 3, Lamar, Burrow, Mahomes, Murray, Russell Wilson, Lance, Dak, Stafford, Brady, and a Carr, Kirk, Rodgers 3-way tie. We all saw them pretty similar. I mean, again, it is kind of interesting. Based on the top 15, it shows how deep the position is because there was literally not one of us that had a single player that another guy didn't have.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean the top 15, I think, is kind of a consensus of the
Right?
top 15 guys. It's very hard to put anyone else
And
in there.
there's
I
a
think.
few guys outside of it that I really like too.
Yeah, you could throw like a Matt Ryan in at 15 or something like that, or a
Jameis
Jameis Winston.
Winston.
Yeah, you could throw one of those guys at like 15, but I think kind of the top 15 are pretty much kind of locked in. 14, 15, you can kind of play around with a couple guys, but it's pretty locked in ahead of that. It's. I don't know.
So on
There's
the
a couple
next week
guys, man.
is
There's a
where
couple
I
guys.
think there's going to be there's 32 starting quarterbacks. It's easy to have a consensus,
Yeah,
right?
at least the first half, like we did.
And granted, there's really only 32 starting running backs. So we may see closer to a consensus there. But when we start getting into the wide receivers, there's 3 basically starting wide receivers per team. Definitely 2, in those teams that run heavy 2 wide
Yeah, the
receiver
rankings
sets.
can get wacky.
We're going to start seeing some discrepancies, and that's going to be really fun. So next week, we're going to kick it off with our running back rankings, and maybe, just maybe, we can get our buddy across the pond in London to hop on an episode with us and maybe give his 2 cents on his top 15 running backs. And we'll do another mock next week. Just another quick mock. Let's just do a mock every week. Fuck it.
Why not?
Let's have fun.
It's mock season.
All
All right,
guys.
everybody. Thanks for listening and watching. We have the YouTube channel. Go subscribe to that. We have the Full House Fantasy Football podcast YouTube channel. Go give that a click, like, subscribe, whatever. And thanks for listening. We'll see you next week for running back rankings and another mock, of course.
Yeah, and tune into the Instagram. We're trying to get our content up there and try to be a little bit more part of the community. So it's Full House Fantasy Football. on Instagram,
Mhm.
again on YouTube. We're trying to get a bit more involved. So tune in.
Yeah, we're always
subscribe.
posing questions on there and kind of, you know, things for you guys to put your 2 cents in. So if you want to,
Yeah.
go ahead and check that out and shoot us some comments.
Yeah, right on. This was fun stuff, guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Later.